Morning, everybody. Mike Missanelli Show on the air. General Knowledge Wednesday, but that's the least of our concerns today. The big concern, of course, is the story that we actually talked about yesterday because it happened right in the middle of our show. And it is the Mike Missanelli Show, and the gang is all here, including Ray Dunn, is back from his for missing a really big day of sports talk with the turmoil that's inside the 76ers. So yesterday when it broke, I think a lot of people were taken off guard and didn't know how to process it. So now, as we process it the day after, we look at this situation, and a lot of people have different opinions on it. A lot of people are focused somehow on the leak of it, which for me doesn't make any sense that how it got leaked. I can tell you how it got leaked. Either it got leaked from the organization, meaning the Sixers, or it got leaked from an agent of one of the players who thought it would benefit his client for that to get out. I don't know who that might be, but the point is it happened. And the point is that Tyrese Maxey thought it was fine for him to bring it up because he was close to Joel Embiid to call him out on certain things. I wonder if they were that close, though, why Maxey wouldn't have brought this up to him before and why he had to do it in a team meeting. Because if that's my buddy, I go, Holmes, man, listen, I love you, but, you're being late to all this stuff. Like, in a team meeting, then it leaks out there, and then it causes all kinds of different turmoil. Now, I'm not really blaming Maxey, but he had the courage to bring it up, not thinking, I guarantee you Maxey didn't think it was going to blow up like that and get outside the locker room. But if we're looking at that, we're looking at the wrong thing. You got to look inside now on what Joel Embiid is all about. And I know a lot of people have been permissive of him because he's been such a dominant player, and we're under the perception that we got to have him if we're going to think about winning a championship, and there's nothing else you could do about it, which is right. But this is what bothers me about this whole season coming in. He himself did not set the right tone by playing along with this notion that he didn't have to be ready to start the season. And if you're a teammate of the guy, you got to go, okay, I know he's the star player, but I still don't feel good about that because we're really not ready to play. We're not ready to buckle down. We're not ready to be a serious challenger for anything if that's the attitude that the star player is going to bring into the season. And that's what bugged me about the whole thing at the start. It was the tone that it set. And so now, a couple of things can happen. One is, he can look in the mirror. Now, he's done this before, so I don't know even if that would be a permanent solution. He's been called out for other stuff before. He's vowed to buckle down. He says the right things, and for a while he buckles down, and then it goes back to the same thing. So, I mean, he could look himself in the mirror and say, you know what, now I really got serious. The other part is maybe doesn't have the enthusiasm anymore to do that. Maybe we've seen the best of Joel Embiid as a competitive player. And maybe his heart doesn't beat as hard as it did earlier in his career. So I throw that to you, Bill. All that stuff, you can wade through it. I know it was it's like a wheat field. You got to get through it to find the kernel of what I'm really talking about. But where's your kernel?
Well, like you said, this news broke while we were on the air yesterday, so we were live reacting to it. So when the show ended and I went home and I got to read more things about it and think about it, I kept coming back to the question, why? Why does Joel Embiid recruit Paul George in the offseason and then shows up to camp out of shape? And if it was because of the knee, then why play in the Olympics if you're not 100% healthy? Why does Joel Embiid say that personal awards don't matter this season? All NBA teams don't matter this season because all he wants is team success and then shows up late to everything. So I keep asking myself, why? Why is Joel acting this way? And it just doesn't make sense to me. I'm confused by it. Because if he truly wanted to win championships, which is what he told us this offseason by recruiting Paul George, by literally saying personal awards don't matter, then why start the season this way? Why come to camp out of shape? Why show up late to everything and have this laissez-faire attitude like it just doesn't matter? It doesn't make sense to me that a leader, an MVP candidate of a team that's supposed to be an Eastern Conference contender would act this way. So why, Mike? I'm really asking why. Why is he acting this way?
You want to hear the most dangerous thing that I can say? Why? Is it possible his desire has waned?
See, that's what his actions would tell us.
Is that a very real possibility, that his desire for this whole thing now has waned? He's got the bag. He's got his family. Ball,
But then why go out there and recruit Paul George?
Well, why wouldn't you? I mean, it's a pretty obvious thing to do, isn't it?
Yeah, but
it's not like you had to go through trials and tribulations in your head. You're saying the right thing by saying you recruit Paul George.
I guess so.
It's the best possible thing you could do. There was no other better solution. So he's safe completely when he says, I recruit Paul George.
But then why, and I see someone on YouTube saying it as well, he said he lost 20 pounds. Now, if that's in fact true, why go through the...
Did he look like he lost 20? Can we cut to the chase on this? Did he look like he lost 20 pounds to you? He lumbers up and down the court. Does that look like a guy who lost 20 pounds?
Yeah, I don't know, man. I am so frustrated. And I am at the point where you just want to throw in the towel. It's how much more can we take as Sixers fans? I mean, guys like Ray and his age have never seen them get out of the second round. I've only seen it once, basically, since I can remember, going back to 2001, and it just seems to be drama, issues, swings and misses on draft picks and free agent signings. And now we think we finally have a really good team. We got a good nucleus of a big three with an MVP caliber guy who's won an MVP before in Joel Embiid. You're surrounding him with Maxey and George and all these bench pieces. And this is what we got to talk about 13 games into the season. This is how things start. I just don't know how much more I can take of it, Mike.
Listen, let me just tell you something about maybe a pro player who has desire, whose desire hasn't waned. A player whose desire hasn't waned, who now has this free agent like Paul George and has a decent team on paper, although I think that was overrated. But the way everybody else looked at it was a decent team on paper. Don't you then prepare yourself to, A, have a significant weight loss, B, have a significant training process, C, have that to get ready right away to start the season? Well, all that didn't matter to him. All that didn't matter to him, and the Sixers put out the notion that it didn't matter to them anyway. It didn't matter to them either. That all that mattered to them was that he would finally be healthy for the playoffs. That's all that mattered. They set a template for him to say, well, I don't have to do any of these things, the significant weight loss, the significant training program. I don't have to be ready to start the season on day one. That means your desire has waned. That means you're not that serious about things.
And that's why they have to have a team meeting where it looks like the main topic is Joel's commitment, showing up late for everything. I mean, see, that is just an inexcusable thing. You could talk about the knee, and we've talked about it. I've tried to give him excuses, and you know that. I've tried to make excuses for why he's out of shape. Maybe the knee's not there. There's no excuse for not showing up on time. There's no excuse for not being present. There's no excuse for not showing leadership by example.
It's part of the whole equation of his desire waning. If your desire hasn't waned, you don't do stuff like that.
But why would his desire wane?
Yeah, he's got the bag. Well, he's got everything he's ever wanted.
Well, he goes to Paris this summer, and that's because he wanted to win a gold medal. Right? It wasn't about money. But I guess that was more of a personal accomplishment to go and hang out in Paris. I'm just having a hard time wrapping my head around it because you've played sports, Mike. I've played sports. Ray's played sports. Obviously never at that level. But I feel like every professional athlete, to get to that point, you have a competitive nature. You have that competitive drive in you that you want to win. At the end of the day, yes, you get paid a lot of money, but the ultimate thing that drives you should be winning. That's the whole point of sports. So if Joel Embiid doesn't have the drive to win, then what is he doing? I mean, do you really think that he's given up his desire to win?
Listen, he's 30 years old now, right? He's totally bought into the hype that he's the most skilled big man ever, and this and that, and so he doesn't have to work to get to that level anymore. So the level is, I'm still the great big man. And so at that point, your desire to improve or to continue to lead or to continue to win something wanes a little bit.
Wouldn't he want to prove the critics wrong? And look, I mean, there's so many people here who have been very critical of Joel because of the lack of playoff success.
Let me ask you this. In his mind, is what the critics say more important, or what everybody else has said about him being the most skilled big man of all time? That's the ego feeder.
Yeah.
610-632-0975. It's General Knowledge Wednesday. We have a double prize today. Oh, my God. And we're going to tell you about it after this.
Matvey Michkov. Back into the corner to meet.
On the Mike Missanelli Show today, 10 o'clock hour. Brought to you by Window Nation. Take advantage of their 50% off sale on all style windows. Plus, make no down payment with no payments and no interest for 12 full months. Call 866-90-NATION or visit windownation.com. All right, it is General Knowledge Wednesday today. So we have a really hot topic that should make people want to discuss. And also, you get a general knowledge question where you can score, get this, a pair of Sixers tickets. For the 27th, November 27th game against the Rockets, where it is possible that all three of them will be on the floor. How about that?
It's possible.
It's possible that all three of them will be on the floor for that game. Well, it's probably definite that it'll be on the floor. They may be on the floor earlier than that. But you'll at least have a game where all three of them will be on the floor. That's a great prize. And also, for you people who like people with tattoos on their face, a pair of tickets for Post Malone and Jelly Roll.
At Citizens Bank
Citizens Bank Park? They're that big?
Tickets aren't even on sale yet, Mike. We got them before they're even on
sale. So you'll win either one of those prizes till we select two winners today. Pair of tickets for the November 27th game against the Rockets. Pair of tickets to see Tattoo Faces at Citizens Bank Park.
It's going to be a good show.
That is on March, April, May 24th. So you have plenty of time to prepare and get a babysitter. If you desire.
It should be
big ballpark concert.
It's a very interesting concert. Post Malone's done the shift from rap to country.
Yeah.
Like, is he just going to go full country? He's got Jelly Roll with him, so I'm assuming it's going full country. Do we just ignore
it? Might be a full country deal.
The original Post Malone?
I can tell you center field's going to not be great after that.
Well, who's going to be patrolling center field? 610?
Yeah, whoever's patrolling center field is going to have a shoddy turf for a couple of weeks.
Will Rojas still be out there?
Yeah, get used to it, Johan. Let's see how you do with shoddy turf.
Will Juan Soto be in attendance?
Jelly Roll turf. All right,
I didn't know the Mets are going to be in town.
There you go. So that's the prize. That's a pretty good prize. So here are our categories, right? This is in your honor. Easy general knowledge, the category is called.
Oh, that is so
easy general knowledge. Second category, true or false, sudden death. In other words, if you get it wrong, you die.
This has been fun, guys. 24 great years on this planet.
So those are the stakes.
Wait, I don't get the rules.
You get it wrong, it's life or death. Like, you just pretend. Make pretend. It's like if you get it wrong, so the pressure amps up. If you get it wrong, you're dead.
All right, but he's not eliminated from the competition, right? If he gets it wrong.
No, it just
and also,
means
I don't think you guys are going to kill me.
It means he's dead.
I got it.
All right, yeah, and then we have two sports categories. The NBA, the only person to do it.
Ooh.
So there's some kind of an achievement, and this is the only person to do it. And then there's the all-time sports champions quiz. So, Ray, if I say to you, who has the all-time World Series wins, you would say it is?
Yogi Berra?
No, the Yankees.
Oh, I thought we were doing players here. Sorry.
Well,
Yankees,
you got the answer for the player. So there you go. That messes up one of the questions. But it's okay. No, World Series wins, the New York Yankees would be the answer.
Yeah, okay.
All right? So there you go.
I thought we were going player there. That's on me.
It's all right. You just messed up the answer for the question that I could have asked.
Yeah, it's okay. I'll start 0-0.
All right,
yeah, people are going to want to get in on this, though, because we got an action-packed show. We got Sam Amick of The Athletic coming up at 11:30.
That's correct. He wrote a story on this Embiid thing, like a follow-up story. So he adds a few more details that we'll get into in a little bit. But Sam Amick from The Athletic will join us coming up at 11:30.
And then we got everybody's favorite head coach, Nick Sirianni, at 12:10.
At 12:10.
Hell yeah.
Yes. So it's a big show. Now, there are people on either side. I can see right away my board says that we're blowing it out of proportion. And another one says we're at the breaking point with Embiid. So let's go to the breaking point one first with Mark and Conshohocken. Mark, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic.
Mikey, what's going on?
What's
dude?
up, Mark? How are you?
I'm at my breaking point, man. I feel like a father who's given up on their child because they know he's just going to be like a loser. I've backed him for so long. I've called in. I've argued with you. I've argued with people like he's fine. He's going to be fine. Let's sit him, ramp him up. But like he's just mopey. He's slowing down the offense. It's just he looks lost out there. And look, it could be his injury. It could be a whole lot of things. Whenever he sees adversity, it's like he just can't handle it. So now that he's getting this criticism, he's hurt, he has a team that stinks. You have Kyle Lowry, who's like 55 years old, running up and down the court, Eric Gordon. It's just brutal. Like, he's going out there to fail. Like, he doesn't have that dominance in him right now where he can drop 45, 50 points and carry a team because he doesn't have Maxey. Paul George is kind of coming off slow. It's just a mess, man. Like,
let me ask you this: either he doesn't have it, or he doesn't care at this point to have it. Where do you lean?
Why would he sign it? Like, I don't think he cares. But I don't understand how. Like, why would you sign and not request a trade if you're like not happy here? Like, but here's what I'm like. My honest opinion on the team. I think we're going to be around like 36 to 38 wins, and I don't think that gets you the 10 seed to be in the competition. Like, do you see us getting 40+ wins?
I think that they will get. I think that they will get in the playoffs
because of the play-in, or just
they'll be 7 to 10.
You think so? Okay.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's no bargain. You're still going to have to go to it.
And now, after this meeting that's supposed to fix everything, it's like they're -3 tonight. That's crazy to me. Who would unless John Moran or someone's out? Like, I don't know how they're thinking that this meeting's going to change it. And the whole thing with Maxey, like, I do think Maxey and Embiid are friends. This leak is just trying to be drama for the team. Like, I don't think it's that big of a deal. I don't know how Embiid's going to react to it. Like, is there a chance he doesn't play tonight?
Oh, I don't know. I think he'll play. I think he'll play. I really think. Would you like general knowledge question to start things off? By the way,
I'll do a true or false. Yeah.
Well, you don't have a choice.
Yeah.
So that's my choice. I'm the host.
Oh, okay. I got it.
All right. I'm Alex Trebek, MF. All right, now. All right. So here's the question from the easy general knowledge category. All right. What are the two biggest countries in the world by area?
I'm going to pass. I have no idea.
What? You have no idea? I mean, you got to have a big country in your mind out there. What's the big country? Not big country Bryant Reeves, who used to play in the NBA. Ray, I'm going to give you a chance to steal this.
Would that be Russia and Canada?
That's correct.
Wow.
Ray takes the lead with easy general knowledge.
Thank you, Mark.
Ray wants those Post Malone Jelly Roll tickets. That's what he wants.
Let's take a break because I want to explore this whole thing that was touched on by our first caller. Either he doesn't have it anymore or he doesn't want to have it right now. Now, I side on that side. I don't think he wants to have it right now. I think his approach is like they carved out for him. Don't worry about it. Just be healthy for the playoffs. 610-632-0975. We're back after this. General Knowledge Wednesday. We have two great prizes today, so get on board. This is an issue that is really discussable. No matter what side of the fence you're on. And I know there are people out there that are saying that this is overblown. And I'd love to hear from you, because if you think it's overblown, you can make the good case that it's overblown. Well, we're totally all ears about it. Now, I look at this is just, for me, a continuation of the malaise that started this season. And I have blamed the Sixers a lot for that malaise, because they have enabled this guy every step of the way. In almost everything. And I'm not just talking about this year. Most of the time, they enable him. And I've heard some stories from back in the past of how much of a diva he is to deal with at times. And I guess if you're the star, you can afford to be the diva that they have to deal with. They're not going to dictate to you. And I think this is now culminated in, well, I'm Joel Embiid. People know me as the greatest skilled big man. So it's my rules that we play with. And so that's what I thought this season started. We were playing by his rules. Like, he didn't have to get in tip-top shape. He didn't have to be ready to start the season. They were all permissive to that. And Bill, that's the way I felt all along. So now it culminates to the point where he's finally back, and the team is noticing that, gee, we're into the season now, and he still feels the same way, where he doesn't have to be in shape right away. This part of the season doesn't matter. It's later on that matters. And the rest of the team's going, oh, no, because we're out there trying to win games. We don't want to be the laughing stock at 2-11.
So I get what you're saying, and you've been saying this since the start. I'll give you credit for that the organization allowed this type of mentality to fester. But, Mike, at what point does your MVP candidate, does your leader of the basketball team have to have his own drive, his own willingness?
You're absolutely right, and don't misunderstand what I'm saying. That's the most important thing. I'm not saying that the Sixers forced him to act like a child here. What I'm saying is, yes, he should be self-motivated. But I also think they set the template for him not to be self-motivated. So that's where I come about. Yes, of course, you want the player to take personal responsibility. If you're really a great player, then be a great player. And part of being a great player is being prepared to play, no matter what you have to do.
But then that brings me to the point you made to start the show, is why did it take a team meeting in front of everybody to talk to Joel about this? Like, not only Tyrese Maxey, whereas, Mike, if you and I had an issue, before we had a meeting as a station, wouldn't you and I talk to each other, just the two of us, where I say, hey, Mike, I think you should do this, or you would tell me, hey, Bill, I need this from you. Like, why couldn't Maxey talk to him privately before it got to this point? Why couldn't Nick Nurse talk to him privately? Why couldn't someone in the organization? Why does it have to get to 2-11 and in front of the entire team for Joel to be told, hey, Joel, guess what? Be on time. We're not even talking about something that crazy. Be on time.
In this day and age, you can't be tough with players because you're so afraid they'll bail on you that it's not worth it. Nick Nurse can't get on him because he can't afford to lose him mentally. Morey can't do that because he's afraid to live, just like he did with Harden. He was afraid to lose Harden mentally. The players run this league. There's no dictating to players.
And I understand there's no dictating to players in the NBA, which is a whole other problem with the NBA. But how is it even being a dictator, Mike, to say, hey, listen, we need you to be on time? Every single person that has a damn job knows you got to be on time. What if you showed up every day at 10:30 for our 10 o'clock show?
Listen, don't you think they suggest that he's got to be on time? And if he's not on time, what are they going to do about it? He knows they can't do anything about it. What are they going to do? Are they going to suspend him to the detriment of their team? He's got all the cards. What could they possibly do? Joel, I demand that you be on time. Come on now. Come on.
I have defended Joel in the past because there have been people who I thought went over the top with their criticisms. But this, to me, is unacceptable behavior then. Because if you're saying that there's nothing that could be done for Joel to come and show up on time as the leader of a contender.
You're making this on time thing more important than the bigger issue.
I don't like
Well,
tardiness.
I think that is him not coming on time is not the most important issue, but what it does is it tells me a lot about who Joel Embiid is. It tells me a lot about his psyche and his leadership and his desire to win, as you brought up. So, yeah, maybe it's not the big deal, but the fact that he doesn't even show up on time tells me a lot
Did
about
Allen
what I need to
Iverson
know.
show up on time?
And did we not have issues with Allen Iverson?
Did it matter to him? Did that cure? Was he ever cured? of not coming on. He would call in sick doing a shoot around saying his kid was sick. He used that excuse 50 times. Oh, my daughter's ill today. I can't make the shoot around.
Yeah, but just
He didn't
because
come on time.
and just because AI did it didn't make it right.
Well, no, but it didn't. But he played. Okay, so what I'm saying here is the on-time thing isn't as important as getting yourself ready to play. You think if Joel Embiid was playing balls out right now, that they would care whether he's on time?
No, but that is all part of it. It's because you're not in shape to start the season, and you're not doing it.
That's the issue, not the on-time thing. The issue is he doesn't feel his desire right now is not there to play at the highest level. Why is that? Well, because he's Joel Embiid and he can. And secondly, there's been this narrative created that this is not the most important part of the season. But now his teammates are getting fed up with it.
And that's why they have to have the meeting, and that's why it's got to be Maxey.
Right. Now, we're blowing this out of proportion, according to Rob in South Jersey, who joins us now. What's up, Rob?
What's up, Mike?
How you doing?
Hey, listen, it's not that you guys are, you are blowing out of proportion, but it's not like nothing is wrong either. And there's two things I want to preface before I make my point. The first one you actually just touched on, Mike. I think you're reading my mind. The AI factor. We revere AI in this town, and rightfully so. And his most famous line is, "We talking about practice," and here we are talking about whether Joel Embiid shows up to practice all the time.
No, we're not. We didn't say. Nobody said anything.
We talking about
practice has not even been brought up. I don't know what he's not on time for. We're not talking about practice.
Okay. Okay. Well, I'm assuming it's practice. Whatever. It's okay. The second thing is, and you guys also touched on this, the NBA. Between the load management and the players dictating, I'll sign here for 4 years, $200 million. You know what? I hate this place. I'm gonna go somewhere else. You're right, Mike. They dictate what they want to do, and that's on the league. The league product with the defense in the regular season also hasn't been the greatest. It definitely picked up in the playoffs, but I don't understand how we can get so not mad at Joel Embiid, but like this guy's just broken down in the playoffs, and that's why we don't win. How many times in the past for a championship NBA team have we looked back and said, well, that game in November, that game in October really mattered?
I'm trying to figure out what your point is here, Rob. You zero in on a point. You say okay. Firstly, you said we're blowing this out of proportion. Let's take that part of it. How are we blowing it out of proportion?
Because their 2-11 record is completely irrelevant.
How?
Because they're going to make the playoffs either way, and it's a brand new season. You're 0-0. The Miami Heat made it to the NBA Finals as an 8 seed.
Did you listen to Miami? That's an aberration, by the way. If you look at the statistics, you'll see that a team that's below the third seed has no chance really to win anything. Miami was an aberration. But were you listening to the show yesterday?
I was not.
Okay. Do you know what the record has to be for them to get into the 8th seed? 8 now.
Well,
you know what they have to do?
No, go ahead, tell me.
45-24.
To be the 8th seed?
Yes.
In the Eastern Conference?
Yes. Yeah. What am I making stuff up? 43-24. Excuse me.
Well,
43-24.
That would be over 500, and teams that are under 500 make the playoffs all the time in the NBA. So I don't know
okay. All right. So let's make them the 10th seed because they would only have to play 500 ball to get the 10th seed.
Okay.
Who would they play in the first round?
The Celtics.
And you're feeling good about that?
Well, Mike.
So it only matters. So the playoffs only matter to you, Rob?
Mike. To win the NBA championship, aren't they going to have to beat the Celtics regardless?
Oh, you know what, dude? Playing the Celtics for the Eastern Conference title is a lot different than losing to them in the first round, you nitwit.
Got you a little worked up. Listen, to Rob.
Oh, see, this is this narrative again. The only thing that matters is the playoffs. No, it doesn't. Because if you finish 10th, you got Ugats anyway.
Ugats. Listen, Rob's point about, well, the regular season doesn't matter. Maybe I could agree with that when you're talking about 1 or 2 games. 2-11 is terrible. When you say 2-11 doesn't matter, yes, it does. 2-11 matters. And don't take our word for it. The 76ers had a team meeting when they dropped to 2-11. That's the reason we're even talking about what Maxey had to say to Embiid, because they felt that 2-11 was a time to panic and have a team meeting. It does matter. And to the point about teams that are 500 make the playoffs, yeah, you're right, as a 9 or 10. The 8 seed last year was 10 games over 500. So to go 46 and 36, Mike, that's what you're talking about, needing to get, 43 and 25 the rest of the way to be an 8.
43 and 24.
Yeah, it does matter. But I don't love the Allen Iverson comparison. You brought it up. He brought it up. Yes, Allen Iverson is now beloved. But sometimes, hindsight, you forget about all of the issues. I love AI. Will always love AI. He gave me my greatest memories as a Sixers fan, that 2001 run to the finals. But let's not pretend like it was all sunshine and rainbows when Allen Iverson was here. There's a reason he got traded, Mike. There's a reason why Larry Brown was losing his mind with Allen Iverson. So if that's what we want to compare Joel Embiid's, it doesn't matter if he's late because look what Allen Iverson did. Come on. And Allen Iverson did give it his all on the court, wasn't out of shape. I don't like that comparison at all. And he only got out of the second round once.
You just got done saying he wasn't out of shape. Isn't that the whole point of Allen Iverson? He wasn't out of shape. He didn't hurt the team because he wasn't in physical shape.
But that's why I'm saying you can't make the comparisons.
Why not? Why can't you make the comparisons?
To say that it's okay.
You got one guy who didn't feel like he could be in shape enough to perform at a high level. The other guy was late and undisciplined, but showed up and was never out of shape.
But they were also like a one-man team back then. The point of this team that was built this season was the big 3. That's what we were sold. Joel, Paul George, Tyrese Maxey. And they needed to build some sort of cohesive unit, at least in practice. If you're going to load manage, which Ray and I were guilty of saying we were in support of, but if you're going to load manage and you're going to have limited amount of time on the court, then isn't practice even more important at that point? Isn't showing up in shape, showing up on time for activities so that you can build this cohesive unit together with all these new pieces? Because it wasn't just Paul George. Caleb Martin's a new piece. They got a lot of new bench pieces. You're setting an example for the rookies. I hate that people are saying it's not a big deal. You even say, I don't want to focus on him being late. Because I think that shows how he is treating this season, how it festers into everything. That I don't care type of attitude when you're trying to set an example for a lot of new pieces and build a team, a unit. I'm out.
I asked a question. In your mind, has this man's desire to be great waned?
That's how it looks, yes. That is 100%
that's the question
how
I'm
it looks.
asking to the fan base. Because the fan base now, they don't know how to. They're be twisting between. They don't want to bail out on Joel Embiid. They also don't. They think that maybe we're overblowing it. That this is an overblown situation, and that's fine. But I'm asking you, in your heart, do you believe his desire at this particular moment has waned? And do you think he'll ever get it back?
I don't know. I am curious what fans think of that because I don't know. I would have thought, and I mean, how naive am I? And I know there are a lot of people thinking the Olympics are going to be great for Joel. He's going to go to Paris with all these winners, and he's going to learn how to win, and he's going to be surrounded by LeBron and Durant and Curry and all these guys, and he's going to come back, and he's going to be driven to be a winner. And instead, he shows up out of shape and needs to have a team meeting where a 24-year-old Tyrese Maxey has to call him out in front of the whole team. I'm mad at myself because I was all in favor of him going to Paris, thinking it would be good for Joel's attitude.
A lot of people out there saying, who leaked it? That's the guilty party. That should be in-house. You know, I got an answer for it. Like, Tyrese Maxey is coming off a little heroic here, which, you know, I fall short of that because this is something that if he was really close to the guy, he should have been telling him all along. And maybe there was a mutual trust between those two guys where it didn't have to come out in a team meeting. But then, like, how did it get out there? Who are the likely suspects to put that out there? The Sixers, who are frustrated with him, with Embiid. A player's agent who has been listening to his client tell him how frustrated he is about Embiid and how we can't get this team together because of him. Maxey's father. Maxey's father, very engaged in his life. Maybe Maxey's been complaining to his pops, and pops made a phone call. Who knows who it is? But it really doesn't matter, and it doesn't overpower the major issue here, which is that this guy is not ready to play even now.
But with it being leaked, and I know you're saying it doesn't matter, but where it could matter is how Joel Embiid responds to this. Because this goes one of two ways. Either Joel is motivated, he starts showing up, he starts being aggressive on the court, and he takes everything in that meeting to heart. Or the other way is, woe is me, can't even trust my own team, somebody leaked this because they're out to get me. All of you have problems too. I don't know what Coach Nurse is doing. I don't know what you're doing. Oh, I'm not going to listen to this. So this either goes disaster, or we see Joel respond.
Yeah, I don't believe that he is a responder who will see the error of his ways. I believe he'll say the right things, just like he did when Shaq called him out, and then they had the post-game interview where he dominated. And he said, "Yeah, I listened to you, Shaq, and I respect, and you guys were right." And then it just, now we have this situation. So temporarily, he bought into it.
Now, he's going to play tonight in Memphis, and I think for Joel, it's probably a good thing that this is a road game. Because what do you think would have happened in Philly tonight? From Cameroon! You think there would have been a lot of cheers?
Yeah, for the most part, this city responds to star players.
I don't know, man.
Unless the star player rips the fan base.
I don't know, though.
Doing.
I don't know what the reaction would have been tonight if that game was in Philly. Ray, you have a feel for it?
I think even the staunchest of Embiid supporters right now are exhausted. Like the people I know the most who are dug in on Embiid. Yesterday, it was either silence, hiding in the corner, or just exasperation, just tweeting, texting, talking through it with people of like, how in the world are we here? I don't know what the reaction would have been tonight. Do I think it would be outright booing? No. But I don't think it would have been a chorus of cheers.
I don't think that was brought up in that locker room because he's late to stuff. I think it was brought up. It was a veiled attempt to bring up the fact that he's not busting himself to play. That's what I think the main issue is. All right. 610-632-0975. Let's go to the text board before we go to the break. What we got to text, Ray? What's
people, again, looking for who ended up leaking it. Nurse told Maxey to tell him in front of the team, and B doesn't trust Nurse. Now people are making their own theories as to what's going on inside
anything
there.
is possible. Everybody has a motive to leak that. If you work for the Sixers. And I'm talking about players, I'm talking about management, I'm talking about ownership. Everybody has a stake in wanting that leaked.
Yeah, I think Clutch Sports has a solid stake in that one, considering their coach right now is 2-11.
Clutch Sports.
And their player looked really good in that league.
Interesting.
So Ray thinks it's Nick Nurse.
I think it's Clutch Sports because he's repped by Nick Nurse.
Texter thought it was Nick Nurse.
Repped by them, and I think
yeah, but if it's Clutch Sports though, that it's Nick Nurse telling them.
If he's complaining to his agent,
What
his agent's
happened?
like, you know what, man, I got this.
It could be Maxey.
1-800
represented
Shams.
by Clutch Sports.
Nurse also is. I think
Nurse
they're
is
both. They're
too?
both,
Really?
I believe, are repped by the Clutch.
Now,
Really? Nurse is represented by
I
Clutch?
think.
Gina Mizell, who covers the Sixers for the Inquirer, she was on last night here on the station with Kevin Cooney, and I think she said that Maxey was not happy to have to answer questions about this. Now, whether or not that means, is he playing that up? I'd be surprised
about
if it was
either. I don't think he thought it was going to get out.
That's what I'm saying. I'd be surprised if it was Maxey.
All right.
If you're insinuating it was him, I don't think it would be.
610-632-0975. We'll continue the discussion. General knowledge, double prize today. Sam Amick from The Athletic, who wrote a story on this at 11:30. Back after this.
Little boy band, baby.
11 o'clock hour, brought to you by Grungo Law, your law firm when you need help because of an injury. Pray for peace. Prepare for trial. GrungoLaw.com. Right, the Embiid topic is the hottest topic that we're talking about right now. Sam Amick, who did a kind of a follow-up story for The Athletic on this. We'll talk to him about the situation. I don't know where it goes from here. Stuff like this is done for a reason, and I think the Sixers are really happy that this got out because sometimes that guy needs a reality check and they're afraid to give it to him. Just like any organization would be to their star, because in this day and age, when you press on your star and they bail on you, you got nothing.
Yeah, the star has all the power.
In the NBA, it leads to nothing but bad. So you got to tiptoe gingerly around this whole situation, and that leak has something to do with that. So here's how you get in, 610-632-0975, and it is General Knowledge Wednesday. So if you get a question correctly, you will qualify for a double prize, either a pair of Sixers tickets for the November 27th game against the Rockets, where it looks like all three of their star players will be in action on the same court on the same time. And also a pair of tickets for you country music aficionados for Post Malone and Jelly Roll, both with tattooed faces, doing a concert together May 24th of next year at Citizens Bank Park.
We got a report, by the way, on the text board about what he's playing now for those concerned about the Post Malone. First-time texter, Luke from Raleigh, loves the show. Went to Post Malone back in Raleigh in October. 2 country openers, 2/3 country stuff, 1/3 of his old hits. Okay. Awesome show, and Luke's not even a country fan.
All right, well, there you go.
That's cool.
I like Post.
Yeah? You like Jelly Roll?
I've never heard Jelly Roll.
I think, is Jelly Roll the one that redid Tracy Chapman's
you got a
fast car? Is that
really?
Did he do that? Is that Jelly Roll?
No, it was not.
That wasn't
Not Jelly Roll? I don't know. I don't know from Jelly Roll. Sorry.
Oh, that was Luke Combs. Sorry.
All right. In any event, that's the prize. It should be a very interesting prize. And we're up against true or false sudden death coming up. So Ray's got 50% chance. But Ray is up 1-0 so far. So let's go to Josh in Red Hill. Josh, you're on 97.5, The Fanatic.
Hey, Mike, welcome back. I know you've been on a while, but I'm the guy that used to buy his daughter all the jerseys.
Ah, yeah. How you doing, Josh?
So, good. How am I doing? I'm disgusted. I'm disgusted at our team. I can't even watch them. And I've always was positive. And I see a bad ending to this. This is an ugly, ugly, bad ending. And that's why I love listening to you, that you're a realist. And your last statement was, this doesn't end well. It never does, I don't think, in the NBA.
I got mad at a caller in the first hour, and I called him a nitwit. So I apologize for calling him a nitwit. But there's nothing that rubs me more the wrong way than this notion where only the playoffs matter. Well, getting to the playoffs with a team that's viable in the playoffs matter.
Yeah, exactly. And trust me, I love the call and your response, because I agree. I mean, if you're not playing well, what's the point? My point is not to get to the second round and go, next year we'll reload again. I've heard that now for 7-8 years in a row now, and I'm tired of that. And he was supposed to be, the savior, and now Maxey and this and that, and I don't know where to go as a Sixer fan right now.
Listen, you should be going where you're going. You should be concerned. You're right. This team was assembled quickly and thrown together with players that they thought were going to make a difference. And so the star player has had such a cavalier attitude about the blending of this whole team that it may have been a detriment for the rest of the season.
Yes, and I agree. You could compare Iverson and Embiid, because Iverson always cared. Iverson didn't want to be a one-man show. He wanted talent around him. He always cared. Embiid just seems to care about himself now. And I don't care how much of friends they are. If he doesn't care, we don't go anywhere unless we get rid of him.
All right, so let me ask you the question. In your mind, has his desire waned enough where it's over? This whole thing is over.
As a true Sixer fan, I never wanted to say get rid of him, but I don't think he ever wants to win here again. I don't think he cares. And I like the Sixers, and you know that.
Yeah. All right, Josh, here's your general knowledge question. Oh, you don't want general knowledge?
No, it's okay. Thanks,
Oh,
Mike.
okay.
I just like talking to you.
Oh, all right. All right. Well, this is a really easy question.
Was it a true or false?
It's a true or false question. I guess I can give it to Ray.
Ray's already up 1-0.
I know.
He knows this category, though, drives me nuts because I overthink everything. The true or false, give me two options is going to be an issue.
You do have a 50% chance of getting it
All right,
right.
I'm going
But I have a
to
50% chance of getting it
give you
wrong.
the question anyway.
Oh, no.
A pair of dice is more likely to roll a 7 than other numbers. Remember, if you don't get this right, you die.
That's a good point. That's why I'm taking some time to think about it. The stakes are pretty high on this
no
one.
pun intended. Dice. You see what I did there?
I see.
I didn't like that one. Let's see. I will go.
We're going to wait till next Tuesday for this answer?
Yeah.
Wait.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Come on, Ray.
Was your life being threatened by the question?
I would have zipped out the caller if he took this long.
All right, true.
True?
Of course it's true. That's the reason it's craps.
Yes. It's true. It's true. All right, the audience has to catch up.
You can tell I've never played craps.
The audience gets the next two questions. Wayne in Massachusetts. Wayne, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Wayne.
Hey, Mike. Hey, listen. Why is everybody talking about the playoffs? You got to get to the playoffs. And if you do the math, you're down 2 games to 11. 2 wins, 11 losses. So you think they're going to win 30 or 40 games before they lose 45? Get to 45?
They have to go 43 and 24.
Okay, you don't think they're going to lose 11 more games? Because it ain't happening.
Well, you're right. Probably you're right. Now,
That's
they
the
can
math.
play 500 and get to the 10th spot and still make the playoffs.
And then what happens when they get to the 10th spot?
They're in the play-in tournament, and then the survivor has to play Boston.
They're not going to survive. They have to play Boston. It doesn't. You got what's the other brother's name that you're talking with? The other host,
Bill.
Bill. You still riding with Embiid? I mean, he could be a really good. He's got the skills, but every time at halftime he got to go get surgery and then come back and play. It's not going to work with him. He's been hurt for a long time. They paid him, and he's still hurt. He went to Paris. He shouldn't even went to Paris. But he put himself ahead of the team. Now he's come back. He's not in shape. He don't want to play. He don't have the heart. And you said that wasn't a Butler. Would you want to get Butler to come play with him? Butler left his team because he knew Embiid couldn't play the game right the way he needed.
No, it had nothing to do with Embiid. He liked Embiid. They were buddies.
Okay, well, I don't think he'd come back in the shape he's in.
Well, he would. Jimmy Butler would? Yeah, he would.
Jimmy Butler,
He would come back here. He loved playing with Embiid.
I bet you $10 he wouldn't do that.
Yeah, no, man. It had nothing to do with Embiid. It had everything to do with Ben Simmons.
Yeah, and Wayne's saying that I'm still riding with Embiid.
Are you still riding with Embiid? Bro, the other brother I'm working with. Bill.
I said yesterday to end the show that I was hopeful that Joel was going to respond. But the more that I take a step back and I think about all that's going on, it's hard to say I'm riding with Embiid. Mike.
Listen, he mentioned the Olympics. He earned the right to put himself above the team as far as playing for the Olympics. But he didn't earn the right to not even care about the team once he returned. 610-632-0975. Back after this. It's the Mike Missanelli Show, 97.5 Fanatic. So, why didn't I bet $1 million last night on the Boston Celtics? These games, they get away from me. I don't think about them enough. Man, I thought Boston was a lock to win that game last night. I wasn't going to mess with the points. But money line, if I didn't bet $1 million on them, and I'm kicking myself.
It was a close one, though.
It turned out to be a close one. But the Celtics were not. They were raining threes like nobody's business in the first half.
How about, who was it, Dalton Connect? Set the record for rookie threes last night?
He had 37 last night, Dalton Connect. Now, there are a lot of people that said he should have taken Dalton Connect over Jared McCain. I don't know how many people would say that now.
I heard Andrew Salciunas say it this morning.
Really?
Because of the better fit.
I like Dalton Connect, but they were afraid of his age, which I don't get. The age. You got these 20-year-old kids that you draft break your heart anyway. It's like, you draft on potential, and it's like you never know if they're going to actually get it. Look at that guy the Sixers drafted. They spent like 3 years going back and forth with him in the G League. He sits on the bitter end of Boston's bench. Still can't get any playing time in this league.
Who you talking about, Springer?
Yeah. Jaden Springer.
Yeah.
I like the way he defends. He's an NBA-level defender. He can't get a sniff of the NBA court.
I'm still very nervous that in a couple years the Celtics will have him as a star on the court.
Nah, he's not going to be a star. He can't shoot. He can't score. You'll be able to score if you're a guard. All right, let's go Will in Levittown. Will, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. What's up, Will?
What's going on, guys?
How you doing, Will?
Today?
Good.
Oh, I'm hanging in, Mike. I'm hanging in. My point is, this season might be a lost season already. At 2-11, it seems like there's a disconnect somewhere between Embiid and the rest of the team, and it just sends an awful message. Like, you got guys like ex-Sixer Mo Bamba coming out and talking about, I'm not Joel. Like, these guys actually think that way. It just doesn't come out because, they don't want to be that guy. And I think that this leak had to come from a player at some point.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. Listen, it may have been somebody who was in the locker room who told his agent, and the agent made it public. I mean, it could have been somebody from the organization that caught wind of it and made it public because they can't talk to Joel directly because they'll bail on him. But this is a way to get the message to him. It could be a lot of things.
I just think he's out. I think this is the beginning of the end. And if Jimmy Butler had any pull left with Pat Riley, I would think he was a cinch for Miami at this point.
Well, you can't trade him though. He's prohibited since he signed that contract. So and this stuff would happen next year.
Yeah, 2-11's a bad taste in everybody's mouth.
Well, the disconnect. You're right. There's a disconnect. Not a question. But you got to play together for there not to be a disconnect.
He's not interested in that at all.
Well, that's what I mean. Like he didn't seem to be interested in blending from the jump, when blending was necessary.
Like AI said, if he's hurt, he's hurt. But hey, you got to show up.
Yeah, this hurt thing is I'm not buying it anymore.
I'm not buying it
because the Sixers would have this leak wouldn't have come out if it was an injury problem.
Yeah, you would think.
Yeah.
But who knows with the Sixers?
All right, man. General knowledge. I'm going to get this is your lucky day. You can bring the audience back to Tyra. I'm going to give you 2 questions.
Okay.
All right. Now, this is the NBA, the only person to do it. Who was the only person allegedly to have killed a lion with a spear?
Manute Bol?
Correct.
Wow.
Correct. All right, let's get to the second question. This is the all-time NBA sports champions question. Who has the men's record for Grand Slam titles in men's tennis?
Oh, tennis? It's either 2 people. I want to say Federer.
Is that what you want to say? It's incorrect. Unfortunately, it's Djokovic.
I would have guessed Nadal. Okay.
Well, yeah. So all right. So there you go. You got 1 anyway. All right. So it's 2-1.
2-1. And I looked something up at the break, Mike, because you've been talking a lot about how for the Sixers, after a 2-11 start, to get to an 8 seed, they'd probably have to go 43 and 24.
Correct.
Right? But that's a winning percentage of 642. In Joel Embiid's career, the Sixers have a winning percentage close to 660 with him on the court.
Okay.
So it's not completely out of the possibility here if you look at the history. Now, what version of Joel do you get down the stretch? Plus,
Well, what version of Joel do you get blending with the other players? Because now you got to start that. Now the clock starts on that. All right? So you've already squandered the first part of this year trying to blend that.
and then the no back-to-backs, if that's still a thing.
Mm-hmm.
See, I'm going to be shocked, though, if Joel doesn't play any back-to-backs now with the way the season started. You still think that's the plan?
Yep.
I can't. When you're 2-11 and you got all this negativity, they're really. When's the next back-to-back? Let me take a look at that. So they don't have a back-to-back until none this month. So the next it will
Isn't
be
it the next time I have tickets? Didn't we
December
figure that
3rd
out?
and 4th.
So next time Ray has to.
I'm pretty sure it is.
December 4th would be the game he would not play. Because December 3rd is an NBA Cup game against the Hornets, so he's required to play. Then they come back home to play the Magic December 4th. So that'll be the first back-to-back where maybe he wouldn't play. Is that the game you have tickets for?
No. It's a back-to-back coming up later on. I think, January was when we were talking about. So I would think it was the next back-to-back that we're talking. But I'll miss him at some point coming up. Don't worry.
Yeah, we'll see.
You rest assured, my season tickets will come back to bite me.
Yeah.
We'll see if that's still the plan.
Let's go to Alex in Bethlehem. Alex, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Alex.
Yeah, what's up?
What's going
up,
on?
Mike, Bill, Ray?
How are you, Alex?
Yeah, doing great. You know, obviously extremely frustrated with this entire organization. And it starts at the top for me, Mike. You know, I don't think Josh Harris gets enough blame on these airwaves or amongst the fans. And this organization has been an utter embarrassment since he took over in 2011.
Well, what do you think he's responsible for exactly? He pretty much stays out of it and tries to hire experts to run, which I think is the best way to do it. How has he been at fault?
Well, that is a good question, but to me it seems like, you know, good owners, whether it's in football, basketball, whatever, you know, they know what they're doing. They have a clue. Jeffrey Lurie has, I'm not the biggest Lurie fan, but he knows what he's doing, obviously. And, I mean, from hiring Colangelo to hiring Brand when he wasn't ready, to having Brett Brown, who wasn't even qualified to be a coach, be the GM for a few weeks, and he ends up trading away a star player. You know, and so when Embiid... Exactly, man. It's just one thing after another, man, for several years now.
I mean, listen, you're not the first person to blame Josh Harris. I look at Josh Harris as like, I don't know. He's like a barnacle on a stump.
He's willing to spend money, though.
Yeah, he spends the money. He tries to hire the experts. I mean, he hired an expert like Morey that was lauded to fix things, and so I don't know. I don't know how far I can go with that.
But Mike, you don't like when these guys don't face questions and don't face the press, right? I've never heard him take an interview.
I really don't care about owners taking the.
Oh, okay.
I really don't.
Gotcha.
Yeah. So, all right, man. Let me give you a general knowledge question, and this is the easy general knowledge. Okay.
Oh God.
My God, what movie did Timon and Pumbaa appear in?
Thank you guys so much for teeing me up here. That would be the classic The Lion King.
That is correct, and there you go, the easy general knowledge, which ties Ray.
Finally, a movie I've seen.
Ray,
Are you aching? Yep.
Ray can go ahead with this question. What's the most populous city in Turkey?
In Turkey. Ooh. Billy Boy?
Formerly known as Constantinople, it would be Istanbul.
Oh, no, that's incorrect.
Oh!
It's not Istanbul.
Istanbul.
It's
What did I say?
Istanbul.
Yeah, it's Istanbul.
Yeah, that's Istanbul, not Istanbul.
Is that not the right answer?
Instagram? Is that what you're thinking?
We're tied as we get to Sam Amick.
Wait, we don't get credit for that?
First of all, there's one city in Turkey, and you didn't even get it.
Yes.
Istanbul's the only city in Turkey. You had to go for a lifeline? I negate it. 610-632-0975. Coming up, Sam Amick from The Athletic to shed more light on the leak that has heard around the world. Mike Missanelli Show continues. 8:03, it's the Mike Missanelli Show. I am Mike Missanelli here with Bill and Ray. And the Joel Embiid, Tyrese Maxey situation has blown up here in Philadelphia to the point where we don't know where it's going to go from here. The notion is that maybe Joel looks in the mirror and sees this and starts to play again, but who knows? But let's bring in a man who's been covering the league for a lot of years, senior NBA writer for The Athletic. And I got to tell you, the NBA is a great beat for a journalist because it is always filled with drama. Sam Amick joins us on the Comcast Business Hotline. Hello, Sam.
Good morning, gentlemen. Thanks for having me. Appreciate you.
All right, Sam, what can you add with your reporting? Now, this is originally reported by ESPN, but you've covered the league for a long time. Is there anything you can add to this story that there was a team meeting and somehow Maxey called out Embiid?
Well, I mean, the first question that crossed my mind once we heard about the meeting and more of the details was that, this has gotten bad enough when you talk about 2-11 and all the discourse, or discord rather, internally, that you got to start wondering about change within the organization. And so, my interest and my focus had been trying to get clarity on the question of, is there any chance that Nick Nurse is on the hot seat, or even Daryl Morey in the front office, just because ownership groups in general, especially when they come into a season with the kind of title contending expectations that this group had, owners can be volatile sorts. I was told, and listen, this league is crazy, things can change, but I was told that there's no internal discussion about those kinds of changes at this point, and the focus is on everything that everybody's talking about in the locker room, and the big fellas, kind of what is now a bit more of an exposed or revealed habit of just not being as much of a pro as some of his teammates and folks in the organization would like him to be. And the relationship with him and Tyrese Maxey, which, to their credit, it really does sound legitimate that, that Tyrese at 24 has the cachet and the trust with Joel that we can deliver this kind of a message and they can still be fine, which we were definitely told they are. But, we obviously learned a couple things about the dynamics in the past couple days.
Sam, let me ask you this question. What is the perception around the league of Joel Embiid at this point?
I mean, for me, it's kind of just the basics. I mean, just a wonderfully talented, skilled, big man, two-way force, and a guy who that qualifier, that asterisk of when he's healthy, when he's on the court, as good as anybody. But you would hear over the past couple of years questions about work ethic, and then I'll just be honest with you guys. It's always hard for me. I'm very, very reticent in general to. We're not behind the curtain with these teams. We don't. Trainers are not leaking stuff ever about the athletes, so we don't always have clarity on. Okay, if he looks a little heavy, is it habits or is it health? And so that being said, you definitely would run into folks who had worked with Joel and knew him very well on a daily basis, who would say he just got to find a way to get to another level from a training preparation standpoint and a different mentality. And obviously that kind of bears out now, where it's one thing when we say it, excuse me, in the media, or when people say it, on the side and in the shadows. It's just a whole nother thing when it's a conversation in the locker room that ends up getting revealed. And I tell you, this was on my mind the other day, the whole other drama about the Marcus Hayes column and everything that happened with Joel and the locker room with him. I find it ironic that if you take out what I think was kind of a tasteless framing of that column and the family stuff, it was too far. The messaging is the same, right? It's just criticism of the way you approach your job. And right now, it does feel like that moment where Joel's going to have to just look in the mirror.
Yeah, you know what? We were talking about the other day. Even though that first paragraph was harsh and they changed it, it's kind of leading into the issue of what we're talking about now. So let me ask you about the leak itself, because you've been at this for a really long time. You get information from various different sources. My theory is that the Sixers are not unhappy that this got out. As you cover a league where the players rule, and you can't brush up against players for fear of losing them. So this gets out, and this is like, okay, we don't have to be the bad guy here. He becomes the bad guy nationally because one of his more respected younger teammates, who's actually close to him, is the one that said it.
No, I mean, that's fair. But I would add to that by saying that what I find so interesting here, and that I think so far is getting missed a little bit, is that, Tyrese it's one thing for us to learn that Tyrese said a few things behind closed doors. In my experience, when that kind of thing gets reported about a young player, even if it's accurate, that young player typically will get uncomfortable being in the spotlight and probably push back against the media, maybe not talk at all, or maybe deny things that went on. That's, I think, the norm. So when Tyrese yesterday decided to step in front of the microphone and on the record basically own the moment, I actually thought it was another revealing moment when it comes to this team, when it comes to leadership, because you add a guy like Paul George to the mix, whose resume is head and shoulders above Tyrese's at this point, obviously mostly because of age, but Paul is an all-time player. I thought it felt like to me that a little bit of this here is like Tyrese is very comfortable letting people know that he's got a real voice in that locker room, and that, Paul, we're happy to have you here, and you're incredible. But, Joe and I have been doing this for 5 years.
Yeah. So what do you think happens here? We're talking to Sam Amick, who covers the NBA for The Athletic, has covered the NBA for a lot of years. What do you think is the byproduct of this thing? Where does this go from here?
It's just the elephant in the room, not to steal a phrase that was used in this reporting, but, it's just the health. That's it. I mean, they look completely dead in the water without some sort of miraculous, health turnaround here because for all the drama, all the emotions, all the behind-the-scenes stuff, the game is the game, and they're not going to win games without getting their big three back on the court. So I don't know where they go. I mean, to the Nick Nurse question, and we had heard the same as well. There's some reporting that, okay, Joel at times is expressing a lack of clarification or a frustration with how he's occasionally used. Okay, fine, but we're getting nitpicky here. Joe's not himself. He's not looked good when he's been out there. Paul is still kind of working his way back in after that long absence, and then you got Tyrese out. So the only saving grace for them, and it's already getting near closing time, I think, but the East being as mediocre as it has been, once you get past the top two teams, is the only thing kind of giving them hope. There really is a pathway here where if they can get healthy, rattle off a 5-7 game winning streak, then you'll be back in business.
Does he look like a guy whose desire has waned? You've been around a lot of players. You've seen players react. He's now 30 years old. He didn't really feel the need to be in tip-top shape to start this season. He relied on the narrative that only the playoffs are important. So is that a guy whose desire has waned or who's just biding time until he has to be serious?
I hesitate to play armchair psychologist, but body language doesn't look great, obviously. I was with Team USA in France, and I was around all the teams at the Olympics, and I would also add into that I found myself, almost feeling bad for Joel during that time, and just the negativity around him. Only he knows how much, if at all, that impacted his experience and his state of mind. But he was one of the least joyful people. And not that he was professional, he was fine to deal with. I'm not trying to say he was fine media-wise, but he did not seem to be enjoying himself all that much during his time over there. And obviously he was getting booed left and right because of the choice to not play for the French team. So I don't know. Maybe, it's years upon years of setbacks physically, and then you got negativity when you're trying to just go win a gold medal in the Olympics. Maybe some of that is bleeding over into his state of mind now, but it's a very, very confusing, mysterious situation for me when you talk about the knee and just the things that don't add up. Like, if the knee was this tenuous, then why was he playing? Because, the knee was an issue back then. And then if he was able to literally go to every practice and every shoot-around and take part in every single activity with Team USA, then why did that suddenly shift? I mean, I do feel like there was, some kind of setback along the way. It seemed pretty clear. But to your question about Joel, it's, I hope he can flip it in a positive direction, because at this point he's on this track to being one of those, kind of tragic NBA characters that was never able to maximize his potential.
So, wow. At this point, we need to consider whether he is actually bored with basketball.
That's not what I'm saying. I just think and I haven't lived it. I can't relate. I think, and this is, the attempt at empathy, is that when you can't do the thing that you want to do at the level you want to do it for an extended period of time, then whether that inspires boredom or apathy or just like a frustration, whatever adjective you want to put on it, he's clearly struggling physically and maybe mentally to get it where he wants it to go, and it's tough to watch.
Sam, I appreciate you coming on. Thank you for your insight, and we'll talk up the road. Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Be good.
That's Sam Amick, who covers the NBA for The Athletic. Very guarded in what he said, but he said something that was really interesting. Yeah, he seemed to be not having fun. I get it. The French people were hard on him.
Yeah.
But, not having fun, you're around players who are having fun, and you're winning a gold medal. And this is what I said. In your mind, has this man's desire to play at a high level waned to the point where he's just going to shirk his physical responsibilities?
This is the only reason I can't get there, Mike. This is a guy last year who I don't think had to come back after the knee surgery for the end of the season and then the playoff series against the Knicks. Why do that? If he truly has lost his desire to win or play basketball, why battle back last season? I don't think anybody would have faulted him if they shut him down for the year last year. He came back, he played against the Knicks.
Because the carrot was live that they could do something in the playoffs. That was a live action carrot. Now it's like the carrot doesn't appear until March. So I can see why he wanted to come back. It's personal glory, team glory. Oh my God, he's coming back. That adds to his great legacy, the whole bit.
But why not have that now?
Well, because now's the start of a season. It's more of a slog.
But you're saying he's lost his desire to play basketball then just because it's the start of the regular season?
Maybe he's had enough. I don't know. I don't think one thing relates to last year.
Yeah, but when you're saying they had the carrot there that they could have success, don't they have that now with Paul George and Maxey?
We're not at the playoffs yet. I mean, he was in a play. When he came back, it was the playoffs. The playoffs were immediate. They could achieve at that moment, and it could lead to glory. Now it's like, okay, this is November, and there's already this notion that he doesn't have to be ready until the playoffs. So that's part of the whole equation, which is why I didn't like it in the first place.
I can get behind that he has no desire right now because it's November and the mindset has set in, regular season doesn't matter. I thought what you were insinuating is he's never going to get it back.
Well, maybe he doesn't get it back. Like I said before, he's got the bag. He's got his family now. Ball, who knows? It's going to Skip in North Philly. Skip, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Skip.
Mike, what's going on?
What's up, Skip?
The thing I'm struggling with, Mike, is not just the Embiid thing, and you said this some time ago when you was wherever you was prior, right? That the best iteration of this team might have been when we lost to Toronto in the playoffs, right?
Mm-hmm.
And if you go through it and you look at the teams that have won the championships over the years, they've had consistency. Like Denver had their core guys, and they added a Michael Porter and a Reggie Jackson and guys like that. Like we keep overhauling this team. When you add 4 new players, that's an overhaul in the NBA because you're only really playing 8 or 9 guys in the playoffs. Like, are we even foolish for thinking that with a healthy Embiid that we can even achieve this? Because every year we just turning the roster over. Like it's just like
you're right. Say I related. Daryl Morey took wet clay and threw it against a blackboard, and it's stuck. And there's all these pieces of wet clay on it, and none of them join.
Exactly. So now we find ourselves questioning if he wants to play. Shoot, we seen Paul George have short stays in a couple of places. Who says Embiid recruited him here? Who says he even stays? He might not want to. He might I ain't signed up for this. I'll go back to where I was.
Yeah,
at.
he might check out mentally too. But he's also 34. See, this notion that you could, and you're right. They threw 8 new guys in there, right? And one of them's 34, by the way. The major free agent that everybody said, "Well, oh my God, they got a big 3 now. They can't be stopped." Well, he's 34, and the guys that come off the bench at 35, 36. You know.
Now and then the one of the things that we struggle with. They kind of addressed in the off season, right? But if he's not right, now you're going into the playoffs playing the number 1 seed or the number 2 seed right away. It's counterproductive, Mike.
Listen,
not the game of basketball.
I hear you. All right, man. Would you like a general knowledge question on this general knowledge day?
Yeah, let's do it, Mike.
All right. Let's see. What did I do with as the last one? The Puma and Timon. Oh, no, the most populous city in Turkey. So now we're in true or false. All right, you have 50% chance to get it, Skip. All right, here we go. Parrots can live longer than dogs.
Parrots?
True. True?
Yeah.
That is correct.
Yeah, they could live to 100.
Hold on a second. There's another lucky qualifier.
Wait, right? Don't they live to over 100?
What do I know?
Parrots?
What am I, Mr. Parrot? I know from parrots.
Hold on. Parrot life expectancy.
What is that place in Florida? It's called Parrot Jungle?
Cockatoos can live between 20 to 80 years.
Wow.
A parrot's lifespan depends on the species, but can range from 5 to 80 years or more. Could you imagine having a pet that outlives you? A bird?
Look at you. Larry Bird over here. It's 10632-0975. Right, I got to give you one, right?
Sure.
All right, kale and broccoli are from the same species. True or false?
True.
That is true. All right, play the music. Get us into a break. Mike Missanelli Show. Coming up is the news at noon. And Lou Williams, former Sixer, has some interesting things to say and reveals that he's been in touch with some Sixers about this issue. We'll hear from Lou coming up after this. Noon time, everybody. 12 o'clock hour of the Mike Missanelli Show. It's brought to you by Service First Heating and Air Conditioning, where you get 0% financing for 72 months, $500 rebate when you purchase a complete heating and cooling system from Service First. Learn more at servicefirsthvac.com. The head coach of the Eagles, Nick Sirianni, is coming up in about 10 minutes. And until we get to that, it is time now for the news at noon.
There's a whole lot going on in this world. It's time to catch up. Here's the news at noon. 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
Ray Dunn back in the saddle today. And he's got 3 stories which make up, comprise, I should say, the news at noon. Go ahead, Ray.
All right, I want to start with Mad Dog because I got to see this. I got to see this, and I was disappointed I wasn't here yesterday for the Embiid stuff, but really just so I could play this for you. Because he got on the air on Monday reacting to the fact that people watched that Mike Tyson and Jake Paul fight. And here are just some of the highlights of an extended rant of why people consumed that.
And you guys out there who consider yourselves good sports fans, you decided, well, there's nothing else to watch. It's 10 or 12. Go read a book. I mean, my goodness gracious. And this is what you decide to put on your television set, Steve Torrey? And don't give me the excuse you're at a friend's house and he had it on. Leave! Leave! While they were watching it, Chris, what am I supposed to do? Leave! That's an insult to your sports intelligence. I'm amazed. I could not believe it. Then I said, geez, first off, again, they did the spots on it. I should have had the guts to say something then, but we're broke, we're serious, we need the money, so I couldn't say that. I had to do the spot live. You know, Eddie said, Chris, please don't. We're going away. Look at the stock reversal. So from that standpoint, you did say that. So I read the commercial. But how in the world could anybody think they were watching a legitimate sports event with a guy who's been washed up for 35 years against some guy who's not a boxer in Jake Paul? I mean, that is, I'm proud of myself for not allowing curiosity, not allowing, let's go slow down when I go view a car crash. I am proud of myself for not getting involved. Floored that anybody paid who considers themselves a decent sports fan would even give that 2 cents. God, I must be shot. This is what sports is coming to now. That we got to flock to a TV set. I know there's nothing on. I get that. It's 11:45 at night in the East Coast. Find something more productive to do. Where's the missus? I don't know. Do something.
Oh my God. Those of yourself who consider yourself a sports fan, that we can't even consider buying that fight.
The only reason
go read a book. My goodness gracious.
The only reason Ray put this on the news at noon was for that right there.
You spend your hard-earned money for that? Go read a book.
And the facial expressions as it's happening.
Goodness gracious.
Go find the missus was a great way for him to end that.
Go find the missus.
All right, let's keep it moving here. Out in Green Bay, they're talking Packers, obviously, on the radio. They had Eddie Lacy on as a guest, and they got cleared to tell this story that pretty much solidified all the laziness that surrounded Eddie Lacy in his career and a lot of the critics, what they had to say about it.
When I'm off of work, what I like to do is play video games and watch cartoons. Well, what I didn't know is that the coaches had the ability to see our iPad usage and how much film we're watching outside of the building. Coach called me into his office and he asked me about my iPad usage. He said, how much do you use your iPad? And I was like, every day when I'm in the building. And so he says, how much do you use it at home? And I was like, and he was like, 0. And so
he already knew the answer before you answered.
He knew the answer, yeah.
But you didn't try to lie to him though either.
Oh, I didn't lie. I was like, and then he's like 0. And so he pretty much fussed at me. And, but the thing is, like I said, outside of football, like when I get home, like football is no longer a priority. So James comes up to me and he's like, bro, it's not a big deal. Like,
James Starks, Yeah,
James Starks. He comes up to me, he's like, bro, it's not a big deal. Like when you're at home, do whatever you normally do. Just turn the iPad on and pick a video, pick a long one preferably, and just make sure the light stays on. So long story short, my iPad usage went from 0 to 100%.
So you're telling me that football players today don't watch video at home? Who is this Lacy? I don't even know who he is.
How many players you think around the league follow that type of protocol.
And then no dedication to that.
You got to put little things in throughout that, like, they would have to be paying attention to answer. You know what I mean?
Right.
I'll tell you, back in the old day, Johnny U, you think Johnny U wouldn't be watching film?
Yeah, hopefully they're smart enough. Like, Mike knows.
Jimmy Brown, who was an All-American at Syracuse.
So Mike knows this. Like, as an attorney, you have to keep your continuing legal education credits up, right? So you could listen online, but then they put numbers in throughout. So you have to be able to listen for the numbers to then put them on the sheet. So I'm sure NFL teams they're able to correct this. People aren't just turning the iPad on. Like, there's always those stories about putting the dollar bill in the back or the $100 bill in the back of the playbook on these draft picks.
Like an Amazon gift card pops up halfway through whatever you're supposed to be watching.
Yeah, something.
Guys don't want to work anymore. Like Embiid.
Well, wait, who was the story? Was it Johnny Manziel that they gave blank tapes to?
Was it Jamarcus Russell?
Or was that Russell? I'm trying to remember who it was that got the blank tapes and they asked him about blitz protection. He's like, oh, yeah, it was great.
Yeah, I think it was Marcus Russell.
Johnny Manziel and that Netflix did on him, they had the similar story where they went to him with the iPad. They're like, oh, you watching? And he's like, yeah. And they brought up the iPad stats, and it was like 0 hours, 0 minutes.
But, yeah, it was Jamarcus Russell who got the blank tapes.
Yeah.
Speaking of film, last one for you before Sirianni's supposed to come up in the next minute.
What do you got?
Rough night for UConn. Huskies won by 35 points over East Texas A&M. Here's Dan Hurley's takeaway from that one.
They're just comically bad. Second half rebounding so far below standard. Ball security throughout the game. It's been a long time since we've been that bad.
That began a 40-second little diatribe on him about how bad his team played in a 35-point victory.
What these post-game press conferences, are they recorded on a can and a string? Are we getting clarity on these things? What the hell? I can't even hear what the hell that was. Can they hear it in the press room? I mean, hook up an audio system for crying out loud.
Sounds like he's underwater.
All right. That's the news at noon for today.
Good job, Ray. We missed you yesterday. How was DC?
I hate when you do that because now, like, everything's going to come out of my mouth is going to be Quis Wusso. It's like hearing a song that you can't get rid of.
Oh, man.
All right, let's move on. I don't know when Sirianni's going to come forward, but I want to keep this Embiid thing going. And Lou Williams on a podcast had something very interesting to say. So can we risk that? Is he at the podium at all? Right?
Not yet stepped to the podium. We'll risk it.
All right, let's risk it. This is Lou Williams talking about the Joel Embiid thing in the locker room with Tyrese Maxey.
Coincidentally, I can give you guys an inside scoop on this thing because one way or another, I ended up on the phone with a few of the guys from the 76ers, and by all accounts, this was kind of blown out of proportion. You know, the idea of Tyrese calling Joel out and how it's been portrayed in the media as, you know, one of these type of blow-up things. You know, from my understanding, they just had a conversation on accountability, just keeping everybody in check, you know, and sometimes you got to have that as a team, just making sure we all on the same page. Hey, bro, we understand you're not going to play in these games, but, you know, team meetings and all of that is important for you to be there. It's important for you to be there on time. So from my understanding, that was the nature of the conversation. That was the context of a conversation. It wasn't as much of Tyrese Maxey challenging Joel Embiid as has been stated. You know, it wasn't a conversation about accountability. By all accounts, those guys are doing just fine. They were sitting next to each other when we were on the phone, laughing and giggling and having a good time and trying to get this team back on the same page. And so that, from what I understand, that was the context of the conversation, not as much of the negative stuff that's trying to come out at this point.
Well, of course, he doesn't want to lay Maxey out. What I thought was important was what he said before that, though, and how the leak gets out, which we didn't hear. And the leak, he's saying that, is that Sirianni? No. Is he coming? Is he coming?
Not yet.
No. So what Lou Williams was saying was, well, you know, these guys talk. Maybe they call a girlfriend. The girlfriend called this one, and it goes Sally down the lane, and it gets to somebody who what's it out.
I'm not buying that in this situation, though.
Can we have that whole part? I want to hear him say that, right? Can we have that front part of it? The front part is the way he's just covering up for people with that little soundbite. But here, how it gets out is interesting, I thought.
Raymond?
Working on it. Just trying to clear it so we can get Sirianni. Here we go.
Coincidentally, I can give you guys an inside scoop on this thing because one way or another, I ended up on the phone with.
That's the same soundbite. I'm talking about what he said before that.
Well, we got to pull that then.
Yeah, you sent that, right? Yeah,
it's a long clip.
It's a long one. He talks about how it gets out and how players sometimes gossip. You don't have to do that.
Can we do that?
No, we just
I got it on my phone.
On Sirianni. That was the most important part.
Yeah, so he says that maybe they talked to a girlfriend or whatever, but I'm not buying that because they had such detailed information.
He's talking about somebody in the locker room would call and say, hey, man, this just happened. Yo, baby. Oh, we had a meeting, blah, blah, blah. And then she tells somebody else, and that somebody has talked to a media guy who's connected or whatever.
Yes.
And that's how it gets there.
But that would make sense if it was a local reporter. The fact that it's Shams, this is coming from somewhere. That I don't think it's just
he gets
whispered down the lane.
He gets his information from whispers down the lane a lot of the times. It gets into the hands of an agent, and the agent has some agenda to get it to him.
Well, that's what I think it's more likely than just somebody called their girlfriend, and then their girlfriend told somebody.
Listen, he's not literally saying that somebody called their girlfriend. He's going through like various situations on how word gets out, which was, to me, the important part of it.
Yeah.
Evidently, it wasn't that important to you.
Not as important.
All right. So Nick Sirianni is coming up, but he's 5 minutes late, which always ticks off Ray. I love that it gets Ray. Like Ray gets actually ticked off that a coach would dare be late to screw the media.
Well, because for Ray, he's got to work the breaks and all that.
Ray's a young lad who hasn't been soured by the shenanigans of coaches who mess with poor media people.
Yeah. Maybe what we need is Tyrese Maxey to talk to Nick Sirianni and say, you're late for everything, Nick. We need you on time. We need Nick Sirianni on time. What do you think we're going to learn from the head coach today?
I'm going to take a call. Screw it. Screw you, Nick. Aaron in South Philly. You're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Aaron.
Hey, what's up?
What's up, Aaron?
Not much, man. Not having a good time. I'll tell you that much.
Okay. Yeah, do me a favor. Take me off speaker. There you go. All right.
All right. Basically, what I wanted to talk about was, since you guys are probably, I don't know, maybe affiliated with the Sixers, sponsorships and whatnot, maybe you can trash ownership. So I'll do it for you. I think what Josh Harris has done is egregious.
No, let me just explain what I'm about. I'll trash anybody. All right.
All right.
So there's. All right. Now hold on a second, Aaron. We're gonna have to put you in a hole because here comes the head coach of the Eagles.
All right.
Piece of paper there? Can you got a piece of paper?
I do.
Can you confirm that Bryce Huff is getting the surgery?
Yeah. Yeah. So he will be, and he's really done a good job of battling through. But this will help him get some more. Hopefully, help him get some more function.
All right, he's talking about Josh Huff there, in case people don't know.
We'll see as the season continues, but just can't say
Bryce Huff
of how he battled through and tried to keep going through it. So, hopefully this helps him.
How long had he been playing through the injury?
Yeah, just exactly when we talked about it last. He was battling through all those different things. I really admire the way he did battle through it and played, with that cast on. So again, hats off to him and there.
So you mean two games?
Yeah.
That was okay.
Yeah.
Alex Hunt takes on a bigger role here.
We'll see. We'll see how that goes. We got some guys, obviously, with all these guys, and really like our room. They've been playing at a really high level. We think Jalix, we obviously, drafted Jalix because we liked his skill set. Jalix has been doing a lot of good things on special teams. And so, we'll see how those reps get divvied up, and this week will tell a lot in practice.
The plan to put him on IR possibly, or is it too soon?
We'll see. Yeah, we'll see. We'll see how that goes. We'll see where we are as we continue on through the week and after everything goes on.
Is this possibility one of the scenarios when you were at the trade deadline that this could be a result? And was that something you guys had in mind?
Again, we talk about everything and through every situation. But like I said, we really like this room and the guys. We love Bryce and the way he's battled through and the things that he's done. And but we feel good about the depth that we have here and some of the young guys that Nolan's done a really good job. And Jalix can, we'll see where he is as we continue on here. But Jalix keeps getting better as a football player, and Sweat's played a really good, has had some really good games and been playing really at a top-notch level. And BG has just continued to be steady throughout, like he has his entire career.
Any concern over, obviously BG's played at a high level, but he is 36, and Josh last year sort of had the quick start, played a lot of snaps, and maybe then tailed off. That sort of increased workload to keep an eye on?
Yeah, we kind of focus on everything. Again, I think the last couple games they've played in a sweet spot of where that we anticipate them playing. But that fluctuates week in, week out, depending on how the game's going, doing what we need to do to win the game. But then, like I said to you guys about everything, the management that you do with your players is done more Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and then you do what you got to do to win the game. Yes, you're trying to have rotations to keep guys fresh throughout the year, but we owe it to ourselves, the team, and our fans and everybody to do everything we need to do to win the game. And I know that's always a popular question of, well, do you have to manage this and manage that? Yeah, we do, but we're also thinking what we need to do in that time frame to win the football game. And again, we can take care of their bodies on Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and as much as we possibly can. And don't think that it's not on our mind on Sunday. It is. And we'll do it as much as we possibly can on Sunday. But that number of plays, touches, or anything, you talk about, you go in with a number in mind. You try to hit within 5 of that. Sometimes it's 5 higher, sometimes it's 5 lower. That's the way it goes.
What stands out to you about Nolan's development? How big is he going to be, over the stretch?
Yeah, I think, what a guy that's been able to, handle the ups and downs, not getting a lot of reps early on in his career because of the depth that we had at that position, to now really being a big-time contributor. Patience, patience of everybody. Just, hey, it takes time. It takes time. And if you've got the right people, like Nolan is, Nolan deeply cares about being good at football. Nolan loves football. Nolan is tough as we got. He's one of the toughest guys we got on this football team. He plays as hard as anybody in the National Football League. And so when you have those characteristics, and he's got great skill, right? When you have those characteristics as a person, you'll continue, if God willing, you'll reach your ceiling. And I think he just keeps getting better because of who he is as the skill that he has and who he is as a person. And so, I think we want things to happen right away at all times. I'm guilty of that. I think we all are. But development and getting better every day, there's a process, and it takes time. And I think what you've seen is just, him putting his head down, working every day, regardless of what the circumstances are. And you've seen him get better and now he's making some really contributing big time to our success.
Nick, along the lines of Georgia guys, Jordan Davis is a guy who hasn't made the splash plays, I guess, but what have you seen from him maybe since the bye week as far as play?
Sometimes D tackles aren't going to have the splash plays, at times, because sometimes they're eating up the double team. Sometimes there's no space in there, and other guys are contributing because, it's taking 2 guys to block them, and Zach Bond or N'Kobe can run around and make the play. So I think Jordan continues to get better. He's strung together a couple nice games in a row by our accounts of, did we grade him out as a positive? And I don't get into the grades much, but Jordan's been playing well and doing what we've asked him to do. And so, again, sometimes at that position, it's not always. Sometimes it's like the offensive line. Might not notice everything that's happening from the stat sheet or from anything else, but we sure as heck do, and I know his linebackers behind him do. And he's doing some nice things with the way he's taking on blocks, the way he's getting off blocks, and being able to finish when he has opportunities to finish.
We talked in Vic yesterday about the defense being so young, but yet you have Brandon and Slay. I mean, how valuable have they been to have on that side of the ball?
Yeah, big time. I think those two guys are phenomenal leaders that, could lead any team, lead any business, lead any, just great leaders. We talked about Slay today. It was kind of the topic of our team meeting today, of just being able to overcome adversity, right? And so you have to overcome adversity in game. And DBs have to go through that quite a bit. And you have to overcome adversity through your career, And so I talked to Slay quite a bit, and we just talked about how he's had to overcome early adversity in his career, and now now he's at year 12, right? And so if you don't, if bad things happen and you can't overcome them, maybe you don't deserve to be in year 12, and he has, and bad things happen and you don't overcome them, maybe you don't deserve to continue to win games. And so that was our talking points today, just being mentally tough because of how long this season is and how grueling it is, and that there's going to be ups and downs, and really handling that. And so when you're able to use one of your players, it's always great to pull a video and show, hey, watch Michael Jordan talk about this, or watch Tiger Woods talk about this, or watch, you name it, Roger Federer talk about that, whatever it is. It's so much better when you're able to put your own guys up there, and then that can kind of lead into questions that the other guys have for Slay. And so when we were able to do that and kind of take his progression of his first year, when he was wearing number 30 through everything, it was really an awesome story about how he's persevered and why he is where he is. And so that's what you want to accomplish for the entire team. And again, just can't say enough about the leaders that we have on this football team, particularly the two you asked about. Big time leaders, and that's important for any team, any organization.
Nick, how different is the self-scout process coming off 6 wins than it was early in the year when you're doing?
Yeah, you try not to let it be any different, right? You may have more to watch at certain points, because there's more to fix, but even then, you're like, okay, here's what we need to fix based off of our studies. Let's watch this. But then when you're coming off, when you feel like you're playing good football, but we have a lot of things to correct. When you feel like you're doing some good things, then it's like, well, what can complement this? So it's still the grueling. You don't have the same amount of time as you normally have in a bye week because it's a shorter process, but it's still the same process, with little tweaks because of the amount. But as far as the wins and losses or what your record is, it just takes different shapes and forms. Again, sometimes it's, bam, we need to improve this, and it's very clear. Sometimes you have to search for that answer of what you need to improve. And sometimes when you're playing well and doing a lot of good things, you still have things that you got to correct. But then it's like, well, what can complement this? What can complement that? And so, but it's always about not skipping steps and being diligent in your work of your bye week. I think we've had some good success after bye weeks. This isn't exactly the same thing. But we feel like we have a good formula in bye weeks that we use on Thursday night games, and that we'll use continuing moving forward.
Nick, what does that self-scout process teach you about the passing game?
Yeah, again, we'll keep a lot of that in-house as far as because obviously if I share it with you guys and share it with everybody, I'm giving some information to the opposing teams. But again, all I can say is for every part of our game, it was productive. And now it's our chance as coaches to build on that and put them in positions to succeed, and our guys to go execute. And so, again, self-scout. Anytime you have self-scouts, and have the time to be able to do it, and you simulate time also, even on a regular week, to do it as well. So you're always thinking about it. But anytime you have extra time to do it, it's going to be helpful.
Nick, a lot was made last year about how the culture and chemistry toward the end of the season wasn't what you guys wanted to be. Is there anything this year that you can point to and say, yeah, I know it's right because I've solved this?
Again, I just think it always comes back down to the connection. I think football is always, we talk about our core values, and there's always these truths, and football changes. There's things that, scheme changes, the ebbs and flows of the way the game's being played changes, but at the end of the day, it's always going to, do you play with detail, right? Did you play with detail? Did you play with fundamentals? That's what I mean, detail, football IQ, all those different things. did you play tough, right? And did you play together? Like those things don't change. And so one thing I've noticed is just, and so we always kind of talk about that, but I really feel like this team continues to, I just think hey, we got some really good teammates and coaches that are just, everyone's, just so locked into becoming better. And I do feel like that everyone's locked into becoming better. And I think I felt that way last year too, don't get me wrong. So, we had it didn't work. There was things that happened last year that we feel like we've corrected, that we're on the right track and try not to focus. We've made those corrections already to last year. And so we're trying you don't focus too much on that. You just work on what you can try to build each day. But I really feel like this team continues to grow closer each day. We got great teammates. We got great leaders. Winning is contagious. And so you build on that success that you've had. But I think the other thing I see is just the hunger of everyone, to get better. And that's all I can point out from this year's team. Forget last year's team. We've learned from those mistakes that we've made from last year. Myself, the team, everybody. I really noticed this year's team that we're getting closer as a football team and just have that hunger to get better each day.
Last one. Offensive-minded head coach. When you look at Sean McVay, what do you see? What do you like?
Yeah, I think Sean has done an unbelievable job there for a long time. Was it 7-8 years for him as the head football coach? So he's had a great run to date and has been at the top of the mountain. And I have a lot of respect for his scheme. I have a lot of respect. One thing I always want guys to respect on our team is that we play with great fundamentals because, that we put a lot of time into that. I always see that from his guys, and I've always seen that from his guy, even dating back to when I knew he was a wideout guy and he was at Washington. I was like, man, his wide receivers play the game the way I envision the receivers playing the game. So I've always respected that about him. And like looking at afar, you always try to study guys, and I got so much respect for his leadership. We have some of the strength guys that were here with him, and I've always, I've been very curious about, hey, what would Sean do in this situation? What would Sean do in that situation? You always try to learn from people. And so, again, when you watch the tape, it's obvious he's a great football coach with the details and the fundamentals of what he's, and obviously the scheme. I think he gets talked a lot about with his scheme and all those things, but you see it in his players of how good they play the game. And so that's a tribute to his players, but that's a tribute to his coaches, the coach as well. And then, like I said, I just admire his leadership from afar. I don't know him well, but, I really admire his leadership from afar and how he's been through, talk about a guy who's had up seasons and some slight down seasons and then recovers back and can't say enough good things about him and what I think of him as a football coach and a person.
All right, thank you, folks. We got a team.
All right, there you go. This guy's become too regular and normal for me. I don't know. I can't take it, Bill.
Yeah,
he's become
you don't
too
like
normal.
that.
He's become too mature. He's actually gave some pretty good answers there.
He's matured right before our eyes.
And look at you. You're like a proud papa. 610-632. That's my guy. He's maturing.
8-2.
610-632-0975. We're back after this. Mike Missanelli Show. General Knowledge Wednesday. Where do we stand here? Because the prize is pretty good today, in case you're just tuning in. We're giving away 2 prizes today for General Knowledge. So when you get a question correct today, you qualify for either a pair of Sixers tickets for the November 27th game against the Rockets, or a pair of tickets for Post Malone and Jelly Roll on May 24th at Citizens Bank Park.
I believe we have a 3-3 tie right now, Ray. Is that correct?
I also have a 3-3 tie.
3-3 tie we have. So when you're calling, you'll get a question. And, of course, the Embiid topic is still hot. We're going to have to shift into Eagleville by the end of the week as the Eagles go to Los Angeles to play the Rams, where I think they're in trouble.
No.
I got this bad feeling about that game.
Stop.
Meanwhile, the Sixers tonight, it'll be interesting to see how Embiid plays tonight. Maxey being questionable, maybe tonight is the first game where they actually play together and they just blast the Memphis Grizzlies.
They are favorite. They are the favorite tonight.
It's a revenge, isn't it?
Why, did they play them already this
situation?
season?
Yeah, wasn't that the game where
they lost to them earlier,
that
right?
was where the locker room happened. It was that night. They lost to the Grizzlies because the Grizzlies got 25 guys that have the first name that starts with a J. They had that Huff guy. They got
That's right.
Durant.
Huff buried him with 20-something.
Yeah, and then after the game was the altercation between Embiid and Marcus Hayes.
That's right. That's what it was.
Oh, okay, Ray. Good memory.
Yeah, so this is a revenge game for the Sixers in Memphis. I kind of like them in revenge. And they're a favorite, which is telling me to like them.
Is Morant officially out?
Probably is.
He's missed the last
got to
few.
be out if the Grizzlies are a dog.
I don't even know. Is Zach Edey playing too, the rookie?
He's out too.
Yeah, so that's probably why.
All right.
But before, real quick, Mike, you mentioned it briefly when Sirianni was on, when you said he was talking about Bryce Huff. So Bryce Huff's going to have surgery on that wrist. We knew he was battling something. They're hopeful that maybe he comes back before the end of the season. But now this highlights what a lot of people wanted at the deadline was to bring in some edge rusher help.
Yep.
Now who's going to make up for all these reps? Because he was playing 37% of the snaps. I think it's going to be the third rounder, the rookie, Jalix Hunt, out of Houston Christian, going to get some more burn.
Yeah, they like him. He's had some productive moments.
So we'll see, man. You just worry about Brandon Graham and Josh Sweat hitting a wall with too many reps. But.
All right, let's go to Aaron in South Philly. Last we heard from Aaron before Sirianni, he was saying that maybe we're reluctant to criticize the ownership because we do the Sixers games. That has never, ever crossed my mind at any level since I've been doing sports talk radio. Plus the fact that I think Josh Harris is a really interesting, weirdly curious. It's a weird curiosity. So, Aaron, go ahead, buddy.
Hey, thanks for, saying that about Harris. Appreciate that. But, I think Embiid definitely shares part of the blame. But, again, I think it goes back to ownership as to how they ever let it get to this point. Because if we're hearing about this meeting and stuff's coming out now, it's probably, been happening, and it's only being heightened because he's not playing that well, and he's injured, and it's coming up, and we're not winning. And
all right, I'm just curious because you're not the first person to blame ownership. So I want to kind of pinpoint why you believe that ownership is the problem.
Well, for starters, I think they lied about Embiid's health just to sell tickets, just to keep season ticket holders. The whole process era and Josh Harris's tenure has been a failure. They're obsessed with superstars. Him and Daryl Morey are obsessed with old Rockets players for some reason. They hire coaches like what's his name, Doc Rivers, who is a player's coach and kind of will let them do what they want, and maybe hire them for accountability, but he hasn't held any players accountable whatsoever. I like the Nick Nurse move a lot, and I think last year was a success. But clearly, they're babying the superstars, and they don't hold them accountable. They only want to sell tickets.
All right, but again, you haven't tied that to ownership. Like he's hired Daryl Morey to run this organization, and by all measures, he reached out for guys that were well respected. Like he hired Doc Rivers. That was a well respected coach. He got in here. He had Daryl Morey, well respected GM. So where and he's not a meddler. I never heard ever that Josh Harris meddles. Now, maybe you're saying he should meddle.
I think if you're owner of a sports team or franchise, your number one priority should be to keep the fan base happy and to win. It shouldn't be to maximize shareholder profits, okay? That's not what we're here for, okay? So the whole him owning the Commanders just never sat right with me. It doesn't make any sense. He doesn't care about Philadelphia. He doesn't care about fans. He just cares about money. He bought them for dirt cheap and he's made millions, if not
No,
billions.
you're right about that part. He's not like invested as a Philly brand owner, but I'm just curious. Like I think his whole thing is he doesn't know anything about basketball, so he hires people to run the organization. And I don't know, I don't know what you want him to do.
I want him to hire people that know what they're doing and can change the culture of this team.
Well, when he hired Morey, were you complaining?
I think Morey has made some good. I think his drafting abilities have been pretty good. I think honestly the only lifeblood and hope in this team is McCain and Maxey and maybe a Dean Bona. But other than that, he specifically formulated. He has so much cap space in the offseason, and he specifically formulated a team that's filled with old.
Now you're criticizing Morey, who I think you should be criticizing. I don't know I don't know what the owner has to. If you were okay with him hiring Morey in the first place, then why is it Josh Harris' fault now?
Because isn't Josh Harris also in the power to get rid of people and make changes?
Okay, so do you want him to get rid of Morey?
I want him to have a serious sit down and talk with them that it will actually.
All right, I don't know. Listen, I don't know. We don't know if that happens, that he has those conversations with Morey. But all right, I get your point. Now let me give you a general knowledge question.
Sure.
Okay, this is NBA. The only person to do it. All right, so who was the only NBA person to record a rap album which sold more than 1 million copies?
Master P, right?
I'm sorry?
Master P?
An NBA player, it's got to be, bro.
Oh, NBA player? Is it not Shaq? I know their album. Is it Swaggy P, maybe? I forget. There was a player
Swaggy P, huh? Now you're wrong. It's not Swaggy P. I thought it was just, this is going to only be two people. One's Dame Dollar, and one's Shaq, right?
I would have gone with Shaq.
It is Shaq.
He said it. He said it's not Shaq.
He did. He said it's not Shaq.
I actually had that album back in the day.
Did you? So more than 1 million copies.
I had that album.
Swaggy
Shaq.
P? What? Nick Young recorded a rap album?
Well,
I don't remember him recording a rap album.
Hold on, before you give Ray his general knowledge, that caller, though, blaming it on ownership. And I don't love that Josh Harris owns the Commanders. We've talked about this and the Devils and all that. But he says he likes Nick Nurse. Well, Josh Harris hires Nick Nurse. Why does Nick Nurse get a pass in this whole situation?
He does not get a pass. It's really interesting that people don't criticize Nick Nurse when they criticize Doc Rivers ad nauseum. Nick Nurse they lost in the first round last year, right? They lost in the first round.
They lost in the first round. And listen, I'm going to bring this back to our man, Nick Sirianni. Change sports for a second. If it was reported that there had to be a team meeting because one of the stars on the Philadelphia Eagles was showing up late for everything, and the team was 2-11, do you think we'd be blaming Jeffrey Lurie? Do you think we'd be blaming Howie Roseman? We'd be talking about the head coach, and Ray looks frustrated because he thinks this is a way for me to talk about Nick Sirianni.
It is amazing how you.
It's not about
how you
Sirianni.
worm your way into this.
No, I want to highlight for people.
So much good.
I want to highlight for people the hypocrisy.
Dog mentality.
Ray just wants to talk over me. We should not be letting Nick Nurse off the hook here, because the head coach of any team, whereas if this was football, if this was Rob Thompson, let's bring it to Rob Thompson. I was critical of Rob Thompson because when the Phillies were in their malaise, I wanted to see him do something. I don't think it should have been John Middleton that should have gone down and talked to the players in the clubhouse. So why are we blaming Josh Harris for what's going on here?
I don't understand. Listen, I look at Josh Harris, and I go, it's something doesn't connect. Like he's kind of a space cadet. like wandering through life buying teams because they have, he's a venture capitalist. He knows that asset is only going to increase, so it's a smart business move. But I think he's a guy that is smart enough to say, let me get advised by people who know the sport. And hence he comes up with, okay, let's hire Doc Rivers or let's hire Daryl Morey. That's not coming from him. It's coming from people that he's talking to.
Yeah, so I just think if we're going to be critical of what's going on, it should be Morey, Nurse, Embiid. I just don't think that ownership is the issue here.
I agree with that. He's not a meddler, and I think most fans would like the fact that he's not a meddler, that he tries to hire people to run the thing the right way. Now, unfortunately, it hasn't worked. But I agree with you, Nurse. Their offensive and defensive metrics are terrible. So he's not coaching this team very well, even though they're a fragmented team.
Last in offensive rating, Mike.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Well,
and their defense is lazy, and they don't recover. They don't have help defense. They're not good defenders on the fast break and transition.
Ray's owed a question. I jumped in between Ray's question.
You did. You were all excited.
He just wanted to get that Sirianni love in.
No, really, that one wasn't about Sirianni. It was actually in defense of Josh Harris, even though I've had my issues with him. I just don't think he's the one to blame.
It's a left-handed way to get Sirianni.
Yeah.
Praised.
You could point out another coach.
Ray and I and the chat and everybody listening is on to you. All right?
MBD actually asked if my wife Bridget knows she's in a love triangle with me and Nick Sirianni.
There you go.
Everyone in the Delaware Valley knows.
All right, here's
all he does is win, Ray.
I'm not hitting the music.
Are you finished?
I'm done.
Okay, Ray. Who was the only player in history to lead a non-U.S. team to an Olympic medal starting from the year 1992 to the present?
The only
NBA player in history to lead a non-U.S. team to an Olympic gold medal from the year 1992 on.
So only NBA player that did that. Who won in 04? It was Manu?
Correct! Whoa! Manu Ginobili is correct. Argentina.
Ray doesn't mess around. Ray's got the lead.
Looky here.
Because Pepe Sanchez was on that team, correct?
That's right. Temple's own Pepe Sanchez.
That's why you knew.
All right, 610-632-0975. Mike Missanelli Show continues. 1 o'clock hour. Very feisty hour is ahead with General Knowledge Wednesday. And Ray in the lead. Back after this.
Missanelli Show has been holding court.
You got to look inside now on what Joel Embiid is all about. And I know a lot of people have been permissive of him because he's been such a dominant player, and we're under the perception that we got to have him if we're going to think about winning a championship. And there's nothing else you could do about it, which is right. But this is what bothers me about this whole season coming in. He himself did not set the right tone by playing along with this notion that he didn't have to be ready to start the season. Maybe we've seen the best of Joel Embiid as a competitive player, and maybe his heart doesn't beat as hard as it did earlier in his career. So I throw that to you, Bill. All that stuff, but where's your colonel?
Mike and Bill have been pleading their cases.
It doesn't make sense to me that a leader, an MVP candidate of a team that's supposed to be an Eastern Conference contender would act this way. So why, Mike? I'm really asking why. Why is he acting this way?
You want to hear the most dangerous thing that I can say? Why? Is it possible his desire has waned?
See, that's what his actions would tell us.
Is that a very real possibility, that his desire for this whole thing now has waned? He's got the bag. He's got his family. Ball.
But then why go out there and recruit Aldridge?
The Mike Missanelli Show Holding Court is brought to you by Grunko Law, your law firm when you need help because of an injury. We treat every case like it's Dallas Week. Pray for peace, prepare for trial. Now back to Mike Missanelli on 97.5 The Fanatic and 97.5thefanatic.com.
1 o'clock hour is brought to you by Ferguson HVAC, Lion Conklin. Pension HVAC contractors for equipment, parts, supplies for every heating and cooling job. Visit one of Ferguson's counter locations in Ben Salem, King of Prussia, Pensacola, or Westchester. So has his desire to be a great player, to be one of the better players in the league, has that waned? Or is just this one of these things where he said, I just don't have to be ready for the start of the season. By the time we get to the end of the season, I'm going to be great. But along the way, it apparently has unnerved some teammates. And this is what we're talking about today. And you can get in at 610-632-0975. A quick aside, though, because we have this notion, or a lot of people have this notion that this was the best roster they've assembled. And I've always blanched against that, right? Because I go back to the 2018-19 year.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, the year they lost to the Raptors, right?
2018-19 year, and this is who the starting lineup was. Ben Simmons was the point guard, and he was still like kind of, like on the verge of being a player. Still
all-star level.
All-star level player. And then there was J.J. Redick, Joel Embiid, Jimmy Butler, Tobias Harris. Now, that's a pretty good starting lineup. But off the bench, they had guys like Saric, Shake, Mike Scott, remember him? Landry Shamet. The backup center who actually did a decent job was Amir Johnson, Wilson Chandler, Mike Muscala. Are we saying that this roster was better than that collection of players? I don't think so. I'm sorry.
That would be the only roster that you could compare it to. Any other year, I think we all agree, this roster was supposed to be better in the Embiid era.
Yeah, but we forget about that roster.
But that roster
was a pretty good roster.
To push back on that a little bit, though, Saric goes in the Butler deal, so he's not there with the starting five. And then Chandler went in the Harris deal.
Okay,
so you're a little bit of that.
But Mike Scott was still there, right?
Mike Scott came back, I believe, with Harris.
And you're starting. Markelle Fultz was still on that team, although he played.
Your eight-man rotation, because they played 8 guys in the last game against the Raptors, the quadruple doink. Your starting 5 was Embiid, Butler, Simmons, Harris, and Redick. And then off the bench, you had James Ennis III, Mike Scott, and Greg Monroe played 1:41.
And they were a -9 in that minute.
They were a -9 in that minute. Good call, Rad.
Was Shake on that team? Yeah, Shake was on that team, right?
He didn't play in the.
Shake didn't get any PT?
In that last game, no. TJ didn't get any PT in that last game.
Corey Brewer? Did they pick up him late in the year?
Was that the year he did the 10-day and he had the Harden back and forth? Because that was electric. At that moment, when he was going in Harden's face.
Yeah, I think that Corey Brewer was playing. Well, in any event, that's just an aside. So, General Knowledge Wednesday today, in case you're just tuning in, pair of Sixers tickets we're giving away. Where the 3 will definitely play. November 27th against the Rockets. That's a pretty good game. And you'll get to see the big three on the floor. Also, a pair of tickets for Post Malone and Jelly Roll concert. That's going to be May 24th of 2025 at CBP. And right now, Ray leads by 4-3. All right, we go to Arthur in Arizona. Still on the lam. Hello, Arthur.
Yo, brother, if I stay on hold any longer, I'll finish this bottle of scotch.
Don't do that. That always leads to bad things for you.
Correct. Now listen. Listen. Don't listen. You made me hold too long, so now you're making me lose my train of thought.
Wait, you have a train of thought?
No.
All right, go ahead.
Put on the radio. Yeah. Now, let me continue now. Embiid, why did they extend his contract? Let me tell you something. The guy is show up late for his funeral, if that's even possible for him. Did you hear what I said?
Yeah, it wasn't funny.
What do you mean?
It wasn't funny. It's an old trite line. You would be late for your funeral.
Okay.
It was said in Goodfellas by Tommy when he popped Stacks.
Okay, nice move. I didn't know you were that good at that.
Come on, you can't get any of that by me. That was the line you stole from.
I tried.
All right, go ahead.
One for you. Now you're beating the other guy with the count. But getting to the point here, he doesn't care no more. He's done. And why don't they just let him go and see what they can get for?
Because you can't trade him right now because you just signed him to a contract extension, so you can't trade him until next year.
Well, then they should start reaching out now in advance.
Oh, what's that do for me this year? The bottom line is you got to hope that this team gets it together by the playoffs, and he's part of that. He's a major part of it.
I don't see that happening, though. What makes me mad? He made it to the Olympics, but he couldn't make it to opening game.
Well, that's not sitting well with me either.
That makes me mad. I don't care. But now let's get to other things. So you believe in the First Amendment? If you don't know what that is.
Since I've been in journalism my whole career, yeah, I think so.
Okay. Then why is the NFL censoring? I watched the football players, which I thought was funny and entertaining. They did the Trump dance, and then the NFL cut that off of TV and wouldn't let none of the players.
That's Arthur, not accurate, actually. What's his name? The commissioner came out. Roger Goodell. He said the NFL will not censor that dance. It's up to the media outlets themselves whether or not they will show it. The NFL does not have a rule against that particular celebration. They do have a rule against any player wearing political hats or shirts during a game, but they will not censor the dance. It's up to the media outlet that's airing the game if they want to show it. The NFL has taken a step back, and they've punted on that.
Now, hold on. Do you got it factually out of his mouth? Because I know he's slimy. Do you got him in a statement, or is it a statement, or did he come out and say it?
When I read it this morning, I'll get you the exact.
Because
let me look it up.
I don't believe it. I believe they. Listen to me. I thought it was great. I thought it was entertaining, and I believe this is a republic. It's not a democracy, and I thought it was a great thing. And Mike, I forgot to say congratulations to you.
For what?
The Trump win. That's what I mean. I know you're a big Trumper. And I forgot to congratulate you.
Yeah, I think it's great for people like yourself. I think it'll pay big dividends for you.
Arthur's been calling you a while. Why is he trying to get you worked up? Here's what the statement was. It wasn't Goodell. It was an NFL spokesperson. So NFL spokesperson Brian McCarthy told Michael McCarthy of FrontOfficeSports.com, "There's no issue with a celebratory dance such as what took place on Sunday or the previous week with the 49ers on November 10th. It's up to the networks to cover them as they see fit." So the NFL's not going to step in and say you can't do it. All right? So no need to be angry at the NFL on that one.
There you go. That's good that you cleared that up.
I'm sure the people were worried about it.
I like it. Yeah, so he drops the line, "You'll be late for your own funeral," before he kills Stacks.
Was that Samuel L. Jackson?
Yeah. Samuel L. Jackson goes down, and that was the scene that continues with, "Come on, make that coffee to go." And Carbone takes the coffee. You going to take the coffee? It's a joke.
Yeah, it was a joke.
610-632-0975. We're back after this. I am Mike Missanelli. It's the Mike Missanelli Show. Bill's here, Ray's here. Before we get back to our calls, I noticed something on Twitter I want to put out there. And it was a tweet that was sent out by a guy named John Cole. He's a reporter for the Pennsylvania Capital Star. That's a kind of a non-profit, non-partisan news site dedicated to Pennsylvania politics and such, right? So this was an exchange regarding SEPTA funding between the reporter John Cole and Governor Josh Shapiro, who was a guest on this show a few weeks ago, and where I said, he's such a fan that I believe I called him in the future. He'll call as Josh from Juniata.
Yes.
So the reporter says, this is John Cole. A few months ago, I asked your thoughts about the New Jersey proposal. They're trying to get the Sixers there. Right now, there's public hearings going on in City Hall about a potential Sixers arena in Center City. So what are your thoughts? So Josh Shapiro says, the Sixers belong in Philly, and City Council is now taking up the mayor's proposal. I'm not going to get ahead of City Council. They're going to go through their process. I think what the Sixers also right now need is a better team defense. They need to stop committing so many turnovers. They got to wake up from whatever slumber they're in. I mean, I'm the biggest Sixer fan in the entire state, and I'm just disgusted by the way they're playing right now. They've got to do better. By the way, they probably have the best roster on paper that they've had in the last 10 or 15 years, which I disagree with. And they got to they've got to start winning. I'm a believer, and I think they're going to get it turned around, but they got to get it turned around quick. And the reporter says, so Josh from Juniata needs to make a call.
That means he listens to the show.
And he says, there you go. I'll be calling into sports radio as an angry Sixer fan later today. You just told them my secret name. Why'd you do that, man? So this John Cole tweeted out, I wonder if Josh from Juniata ended up making the call to Mike Miss this afternoon to vent about the Sixers. Well, apparently he hasn't.
We haven't heard from him yet.
No, we haven't heard from him, but we still have some stuff with some minutes left in the show.
Well, the word on the street is Josh from Juniata wants in on the general knowledge prizes for today.
Yes.
That's what he
They're
wants.
pretty good prizes. So let's go to Joe in Jersey. Joe, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Joe.
Yeah, Mike, Sixers point and Eagles point. But real quick, I work with Arthur on a couple job sites, and what you see is what you get. His call is no act. He's exactly the way you would picture him to be.
Yeah, there's no question.
Yeah, but regardless, the Sixers, I think Nick Nurse is too good of a coach to let them wallow around like this. I think if Embiid gets back to where he was last year or close to it, he's enough talent in them guys to make a run this year. I mean, I'm probably looking at it through
rose-colored glasses. Yeah. They're going to make a run to where, Joe? You're talking about.
I mean, hopefully, go to now 2-11.
Yes.
6 seed maybe. 5 seed.
Do you know what they have to do to get to the 5th or 6th seed?
I listened to everything. I know what you were talking about yesterday. 45 and 24.
To get to the 8th seed, they would have to go 45 and 24, 43 and 24.
Yeah, they were playing above that clip last year, though, before Embiid got hurt.
They would have to win 50 games for the rest of the year to get to your seed.
Like I said, I'm looking at it optimistically, but I still think there's enough talent on there, and Nick Nurse is a good enough coach to get him there.
Wow, I don't see that, brother. That's playing like 650 ball.
Yeah, I know. But again, I'm looking at it optimistically, but hopefully we can get there.
I hear you.
But with the Eagles, though, I talked to your screener. I mentioned, what do you think the chances are of Micah Parsons being at the Eagles next year?
Well, is he a free agent next year?
If he is.
I think they have his 5th-year option, don't they? Hold on, let me see.
Yeah, I don't think Dallas would trade him here. If he's a free agent, possibly.
But, I mean, the only way I think, he wants to win. I know he's tight with Barkley. They're friends from Penn State. And I think that maybe he's just tired of not winning.
Well, listen, he might want to play here. And he might want to play here is irrelevant to whether he can play here. Like, exactly. I don't know if he's a free agent, maybe he can, but they're not going to trade him.
They exercised the 5th-year option.
He's there.
So this is the final. That would be the final year of his deal. Now he wants a new deal. There's no doubt about it. He doesn't want to play on the last year of his deal, but it would require a trade because he's still under contract next season.
Next season, I wasn't aware of that. Okay.
All right. Hey, Joe, general knowledge question. You got to tie Ray here. The audience, there's a lot good prizes at stake. Here's the question.
All right, lay it on me.
Well, I had the question right in my sights here. Oh, what musical instrument did Miles Davis and Dizzy Gillespie play?
Trumpet.
Correct.
Wow, with authority.
And who? And what other great played the trumpet? Mike Missanelli.
Did you?
Absolutely.
I'm kidding. You've told that story before.
Yes.
Ray Dunn as well.
And the only reason you played the trumpet was because your older brother played the trumpet.
That's correct, but they did call me Dizzy back then in honor of Dizzy Gillespie. Or because I was dizzy.
Yeah, you make me dizzy every day.
Yeah.
With some of these points you make. Although we've been in lockstep about the Sixers pretty much since I came over to your side.
Ever since we stopped disagreeing, we started agreeing.
Since you came to the right side?
Yeah.
George in Trenton, New Jersey. George.
Hey, Mike, how you doing?
What's up, Georgie?
And the only reason I was trying to call you the other day when you were talking about Joel, and the one take that nobody really wants to talk about, it's like the white elephant in the room, is what if it's in the fact, and this is just not coming out of the air, what if he just doesn't want to be in Philly anymore? He's made some comments, like after the situation with the reporter, about how he's given everything he can for this city, and it looks like he's made overtures that he's not happy here. Maybe he's trying to get out.
Well, whether he's trying to get out or not is irrelevant because they don't have to let him out, and unless he stops playing altogether, he would put him against that kind of a wall. I think he loves to feel sorry for himself. I think he loves it. I think as a diva, he loves to bring attention to himself that way.
Yeah, but what do you like? The caller said before. What do you think his worth is? Because I don't think it's worth all that much. Nobody's going to give you a boatload of first round.
I totally disagree with you.
Like,
are you kidding me?
Honestly.
You're a team that would salivate to have Joel Embiid. Come on.
Well, give me a package. Is it 3 firsts?
Listen, I don't know what the package would be. We talked about something yesterday. Like Bill said he wouldn't do this. You trade him. Now, you can't do it until next year, but so let's just pretend. You trade him to Miami, and you get Duncan Robinson, Bam Adebayo, and 2 first rounders.
If I'm Miami, I don't do that.
Well, where's Miami going?
Yeah, but you're getting Embiid, who hasn't played a full season in 3 years.
But Miami's going nowhere. It's like they would probably kill to have Joel Embiid down there to take him to a loftier goal.
I don't know. I wouldn't do it. I'd rather have those picks that are going to be high picks if they're going nowhere.
Yeah, well, all right. All right.
What do you got?
Yeah, this is the general knowledge question for you. Then Ray gets 2 because it's a true-false question. Sudden death, if you don't get it, you die. All right, so
I got a 50-50
all right,
shot.
Here's the question. The planet Neptune has rings.
False.
That is true, my man. Sorry. All right, so Neptune,
that wasn't that easy.
Neptune has rings.
Most people just assume Saturn.
Yeah, that's correct, but Neptune has some rings.
That was not that easy.
All right, Ray. We go to the easy general knowledge question for you first. What is the official language of the Netherlands?
Ooh. Official language of the Netherlands.
He's taking longer and longer for these
Yeah.
answers. but-
Sorry.
Darren Dalton.
Oh, well, Dutch. Yeah, I'm not accepting that point.
Well,
Like
you wouldn't get it anyway because Bill just wrecked it.
Yeah.
So
The fact that you didn't know.
Well, I was thinking Dutch, but I was like, I've never had anyone take a Dutch class.
The host disqualifies you for that at talking out of school.
That was a lifeline. I threw him a lifeline.
I didn't ask for the lifeline. Dutch was probably going to be the Hail Mary of, like, I don't think this is a language.
Fortunately for you, you can go ahead with this question with the 50-50. Humans were partly responsible for the extinction of the dinosaurs?
False.
That is correct. That sounded like a guess to me, but you're right. And Ray goes ahead.
What type of statement is that? Like
you were. That was a guess, totally, right?
Well, obviously, the timelines of history, there were no humans around the dinosaurs. But the fact that anyone would put that in a statement.
See, he
That was
took
good.
it. He figured it out
That was
because
good.
he's 1,500 SAT Ray.
But the fact that that would be a statement ever uttered, like, it's almost ludicrous to ask the question, which is why I'm sitting here thinking, there's no way.
He was too smart for the question, Bill.
He was too smart for the question.
That's why I hate those true-false questions.
He was. He was going to overthink it.
Let's take a
Well, we
break.
don't actually know how the dinosaurs became extinct yet, right? We haven't figured that out. There's theories.
Well,
but
coming up, we'll figure it out.
Were you a dinosaur man as a kid? Little Bill? Little dinosaur fights?
not really. Not really. I was more like a Ninja Turtles.
A pterodactyl? Did you have
Masters of the Universe. I was a big He-Man guy back in the day.
610-632-097. I'm coming down the home stretch. Back after this. Show coming in a home stretch on the General Knowledge Wednesday. Quick story. I know that the boys in the morning have Shefty on as a regular guest. Well, apparently they weren't able to pry this little story out of him because he was on a podcast and he was asked the weirdest place he's ever broken a story. He says, I can remember being in Denver one time. How do I say this? I had just spent time with this woman for the first time, and I got a text that Dale Carter was being suspended. I think it was for 8 games for substance abuse. So as I continued to lay there, confirm it, and got the job done in every which way. Now, those guys now they have to ask him about that. They got to get that out of this guy. He's a little too serious on with the morning guys.
Yeah, they do have to pry that out of him, but he is married. You asked me right before we came back on.
Man, I don't know how his wife thinks about him telling that story.
I forgot. The reason I just remembered it, he wrote a book, Shefty, called The Man I Never Met, because his wife was married to someone who died in 9/11.
Oh, really?
So Schefter wrote a book about that man, her prior husband. It's supposed to be very, very good. I've heard you talk about it.
He wrote a book about his wife's ex-husband?
Correct. Adam wrote a book about his wife's first husband and his experience joining the family. It's called The Man I Never Met because her husband died in the 9/11 attacks. Pretty crazy story.
Not sure how I feel about that.
Yes, apparently the guy who passed away was a great dude. And
I'm sure he was a great dude.
No, I'm saying, and that's why you wrote about him.
I'm not thinking that I would write about my ex-wife's husband in glowing terms. I don't know. I feel kind of funny about that. How about you, Ray, as a non-married youngin?
Yeah, the perspective of 24-year-old is really important on this one. I mean, the circumstances are different than a lot first marriages that. I think that
wouldn't that make her think more of him? The wife you're currently you idolize the ex-husband. And,
I mean,
I don't know.
Unfortunate circumstances in this one.
I get the unfortunate circumstances. I just
she could think the world of him.
Well, all right, okay. I would feel funny. I feel a little funny. Funny how? Nick on a cell. You're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Nick.
Good afternoon, gentlemen.
Hello, Nick.
All right, I'll give you guys a call, and I'm frustrated with the organization all the time. I'm frustrated with Embiid. However, I'm going to give you a big if, and it's going to sound like an Oscar-winning script, but if they can stay healthy, I honestly believe they can lock down like a 5th or 6th seed and possibly play in the Eastern Conference Championship finally.
You got anything, Mike? He's feeling positive. I like it.
The Sixers, to get that seed, would have to win 50 games for the rest of the year.
Wait, what seed did you say, Nick?
Hold on. You keep saying that, Mike, but what are the rest of the teams going to do? Because at the math I was looking, they got to win 2 or 3, and then there's a chance they could go on like a 10-game run. And if you look at the standings, there are only 4 or 5 losses at behind the Pistons, who are 7th seed, and I believe there's another team that has 8 losses or something, and they're like the 5th seed. So
yeah, the Hawks. The Hawks have 8 losses as a 5 seed.
As a 5 seed.
All right, listen. I guess I can't rule it out. I'm just going by what the normal numbers are, and to get the normal numbers, you would have to go for them to finish with the 8th seed. You'd have to go 43-24
as of now.
Yeah. All right. Okay. You're very optimistic. I, however, don't think this team is good enough to do that.
Okay, then I got a quick question for my general knowledge.
Go ahead.
I need your C's betting advice here.
Okay.
I bet McCain to win Rookie of the Year, and now I'm getting a cash-out offer. Do I take the cash-out offer going with the belief that if these guys get healthy, his minutes are probably going to get cut and someone else could emerge? Because right now he's the front runner.
That's a really good question.
What's the offer? What are they offering you? How much return on your investment?
It's almost half of what I would win.
Ooh, that may not be a bad cash.
I think I would cash it.
That's what I'm thinking. Because I'm thinking if his minutes get cut, maybe the guy from the Lakers, he can move into the starting lineup.
Yeah, he's probably going to get more of an opportunity to shine with the Lakers than McCain might. Although I don't know, maybe I like how do they play McCain and Maxey together for significant minutes? I would cash it out.
All right.
A bird in the hand.
Yeah. All right, man. The NBA, the only person to do it is your question. Who is the only person to star in a movie with Denzel Washington?
Ooh, Denzel Washington.
Only NBA player in history to star.
Ray Allen.
Correct.
Wow, good one.
Hold on a second. It was Ray Allen.
One of your favorites, isn't it? You
Well,
like
that movie?
Yeah, you like
that's
that
a good movie. Yeah. He did a tremendous job in it, too, by the way. I was stunned how good he did in that movie. Okay. Ray, see, this is a bop question for you. So, who is the only player in history to score 37 points in one quarter?
Klay Thompson.
That's correct. See, I knew that was going to be
Ray knows his
layup
basketball.
for Ray. So Ray is still up one.
Ray's up 6-5. But, Mike, hold on.
Yeah.
That caller was trying to be positive, right? And you keep saying that it's not likely that this team can win 45 games. Like last year's 5 seed was 47 and 35. For them to do that, they would have to win 45 games the rest of the way. That's exactly what Joel Embiid's winning percentage is on the court with the 76ers. He's a .658 winning percentage throughout his career. When you have the amount of games left that the Sixers have, you times it by .658, guess how many wins? 45. Now, I don't know if they do that with the back-to-backs, but it's not completely out of
okay.
possibility.
I don't think they're good enough. I don't think their bench is good enough. I don't think they're young enough. I don't think they can do that after this kind of a start.
Not
I just
likely.
don't see it.
Not likely, but possible.
Well, anything's possible. Possible for you to grow your hair back, but you won't.
It is. Well, if anybody wants to sponsor hair restoration, I'm listening.
You don't need hair restoration. Just grow it.
I got the bald spot on the back.
Then we can see the bald spot. Cover it up.
Yeah, I'm tall enough, thankfully. Most people can't see it.
Spray a little of that fake hair on the bald spot.
Especially
and
on
move
YouTube.
on.
The final straw for me was I got married in June, and then we got all the pictures from the photographer, and a lot of them are from the side and the back. And I'm like, what am I doing here? I look in the mirror, I think I have a full head of hair, and then I look from the side and the back, and it's like, oh, my God.
But at least you have some hair. Who cares about the bald spot? You got the hair.
Yeah, you don't like the bald head and the beard. I went to pick something up for my mom's work yesterday after the show. She begged me, Billy, please, grow your hair back and shave your beard.
It.
Yeah, please. You look so handsome without it.
You look scary.
What is the deal with the beards being shaved? Like, was that a mother thing that the beard is?
Mothers hate it, right?
Yeah.
They hate it because they remember us when we were their baby boy. You know?
I catch flack from every woman in my family for the fact that I have a beard.
Yeah, listen, you got that kind of beard. I don't have that kind of beard. I'd kill to be able to grow a beard and look macho like Bill.
Yeah.
And you. Let's go to Darren in Downingtown. Darren, you're on 97.5 The Fanatic. Darren.
Hey, what's going on, Mike?
What's up, Darren?
Still, right? So, my thing, I'm still stuck on the way they started the season, Mike. I think it was like a bad omen type of thing, like trying to come into a season. You know, we're not going to play Joel. We're going to limit him. We're going to play him every other back to back. I just think that everything that's happening is coming off of that. That's just what I like. The thing with Maxey calling him out, just everything. The reporter calling him out, just everything.
Tone.
And
tone is what I'm talking about. The tone was set poorly.
Yeah.
I agree.
And so, I mean, we'll be lucky to get into play-in and not have to see Boston in the first round. Somehow they come together and, you know, make do with the rest of the season, but I don't know. And then I had a quick question, Mike.
Yes, sir.
So, is it possible, this is a long shot, but is it possible that, like, Joel got, like, some foreign doctor or something that he paid, like, is it possible that he got somebody to give him info for, like, the next 5 years of his career, and, like, they told him if he got hurt again, he's done, like, no ifs, ands, or buts, and that's why he was so, you know,
wait, let me see if I understand you. He got some foreign doctor to diagnose something that the American doctors could not diagnose?
Or he even could have been an American doctor. I'm just saying, like, did he get? Is it possible he got like an outside source from outside of the Sixers organization? So somebody that maybe like he knew
that didn't communicate with the Sixers? No, that wouldn't be possible.
That wouldn't be possible.
No,
the Sixers
no.
know if he knew something, they would know regardless.
Yes, they
would. It just seems like something. He learned something in the past 6 months, and that's why he was so adamant. He had to go to the Olympics because he knew he's probably not going to be able to.
I'll tell you what, you've gone deep on this, Darren.
He's
this
not going to be able to go to the Olympics again. He knows that. He knows that was his only shot at the Olympics.
Yeah, I don't think that's the case, but who knows? All right, listen, man. Let me get you need to hit this one, okay? To tie Ray. This is the all-time sports champions quiz. Who is the all-time college basketball champion with the most titles? What school has the most college basketball NCAA championship titles?
What school for college? That's a tough one.
It's not that tough. It's not that tough. You got to go back in the day. We're on the West Coast.
The West Coast. Okay, now we're talking. Hold on.
He's Googling.
Oh, come on, man.
No.
Come on, man. Give me a guess. I'm on the West Coast. Come on.
California, UCLA?
There it is.
It's UCLA. Yes, it is.
Good guess. We got a tie ball game.
Okay, Ray. American college football. What school has the most wins all time?
That's not easy.
No, not particularly. You tell me in the middle of the country if that's only where I'm thinking.
Right,
FBS?
Huh?
FBS?
He's saying, is it Division I FBS?
It's FBS, yeah.
Okay, FBS. That's all. Let's go.
Yeah, major college.
Michigan.
Wow, what a pull.
Oh, my God.
What a pull.
Are you serious?
Oh, my God.
Are you serious with that?
He pulled that out of nowhere.
Where did you pull that from?
Do you have YouTube
That
open?
series? No.
Do you have
no,
YouTube open?
You can look right here. I have Michael Parsons' contract up on my computer.
You were
can look at that.
You were dead in the water with that question. All of a sudden, the correct answer comes out.
Because their rivalry goes back so far with Ohio State that they've been around for so long. Because a lot of these schools, you go back and look at those Michigan games, they played like Michigan Dental. They played Michigan middle of nowhere with 5 people, and they won the games.
Played Michigan
Wait,
Dental.
did he get any wrong?
Yes, I got
he did.
Turkey wrong.
Yeah, you got
that's right.
Turkey. There's only one city in
You
Turkey.
got Istanbul wrong.
Yeah, it's Instagram wrong.
Instant rights.
All right, so Ray wins, but as fate would have it, we give away the prize anyway.
It's a battle today.
The prize has to be selected: a pair of Sixer tickets and a pair of Post Malone Jelly Roll, and we'll get that in a second. But right now, it is time for closing argument.
Now, closing arguments on the Mike Missanelli Show. Brought to you by Lowenthal and Abrams Injury Attorneys. Injured in an accident, call 800-876-LAWYER or visit lowenthalabrams.com.
Well, when it comes to Joel Embiid, I have the ultimate dangerous opinion. That is it possible that this beacon of center play in the NBA, the most important player on this team, perhaps the most skilled big man that ever played, is it possible that this player's desire has waned to the point where he's no longer interested in being that kind of dominant player? Does he look like a guy whose desire has waned, has been my question. We will see, but that is the thought that, to me, is the most perilous. They needed him to be ready for the season. He's not ready for the season. He's still going out there thinking it's not that important to play to the balls out extent that he needs to play for right now. He has bought into a narrative that it's not important. He's bought into a narrative that the only thing that's important is if you get to the playoffs, they'll be good. They'll be golden. It remains to be seen. But what this has pointed out, maybe, is that the dude needs to look himself in the mirror. If he's been called out by his team, maybe that shakes him into reality, much like Shaq did when he criticized him for not being tough enough. It remains to be seen. It starts tonight. The Sixers are a 4-point favorite, so Vegas believes in them tonight, Bill.
They do, and we're up against it. So our winners today of general knowledge, Skip from Philly wins the Sixers tickets, and Alex from Bethlehem is going to see Post Malone and Jelly Roll.
Awesome. You get the guy from Bethlehem to go to the country concert. That's appropriate and apropos. Everybody have a great rest of the night, and we'll talk to you tomorrow.